Well, every night I go out running or riding my bike. I like the sweat, I like the flow I get, I like the feeling of the night air hitting my lungs. I like the feeling of rain while sticking out my tongue. Sometimes I like to pretend I'm on a secret mission. Sometimes I'm just making sure there's not something out there happening that I'm missing. And I swear to you, I get a real high from it. Fuck alcohol and fuck all that shit and fuck TV. Let's meet up with our bikes down by the old train bridge. I'll race you downtown and I'll show you what you missed from inside. And let's live our lives tonight. Let's ride our bikes into the night. And let's live our lives tonight.
Okay, we're starting this. Welcome, folks, to the Garret Schuelke podcast. I am your host, Garret Schuelke, and we are back in Kalamazoo, and I'm talking once again with my editor, psychedelic guru, and still current champion as longest guest on this podcast, Zachary Elmblad.
Pow!
And we've been having arousing conversations on various things before this podcast. That's the way we are.
Yeah.
We're that damaged.
It's true.
But we were talking about Bitcoin, and yeah, I should ask you now, because this happened, I think, either right before or after we last met in January.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the whole game stonks?
The stonks.
Yeah.
I will preface this by saying my understanding of short sales and short squeezes is very limited. But I have played to some extent and to some success with the stock market. So I'm more familiar than someone who doesn't.
Yeah,
use it at
like
all,
me who doesn't know shit.
Right.
Man.
Well,
even the simplest explanations I read about it, a lot of it's still just.
Dude,
overhead.
it's even people who go to masters and advanced degree level understanding of the stock market don't understand the stock market. It's a nebulous fucking rabbit hole that never ends and cannot be defined, and it's very strange. But the stonks thing is funny because it's sort of it's analogous, in my opinion, to what the ridiculous behavior that was going on in the late 1920s was, where you have Charlie Chaplin acting like he was informed on the stock market. Come on, dude.
then he fucks up and he jumps out the window.
Right.
Like Buster Keaton kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, all those celebrities, it was the Hollywood debutantes were speculating on all these stock trades, and it's very similar to that. You can go from zero to fucked so fast. Your entire life savings can evaporate in a matter of seconds if you play the stock market, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And if you just start pouring money into dumb shit, it can severely affect your ability to retire and take care of your family. It's sort of equivalent to gambling in a way. That's speculation specifically, though. So, there's stop gaps built into the trading process, right? So you can sort of protect yourself from losing everything so fast. But in terms of the GME, the GameStop stock, I didn't participate in that event at all, and I watched it but didn't very closely follow it. But from what I had gathered, someone who is in the know in the financial world noticed that a couple of major hedge funds had basically shorted the futures of GameStop. They were basically predicting that it was going to decrease, and that's sort of bolstered by the fact that GameStop has regularly been in the news for doing really nefarious things to their employees, and for shutting down stores, and for having problems with the COVID stuff, and all sorts of things. So that's sort of evidence to why they thought the stock was going to basically go down to zero.
GameStop sucks.
Yeah, it does. I mean, anyone who
brand new PS5. Oh yeah, we could buy that for $4.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I might have stepped foot into a GameStop 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years, and usually it's on a lark. You know, like it used to be I would go there to look for used Nintendo games, but once they stopped selling used Nintendo games, I stopped going to GameStop because you can get, you know, modern Class A titles and consoles anywhere. Like, why would I go to GameStop when it's just like a bunch of really irritating teenagers? Like, I don't want to interact with anyone in that store. Like, why would I ever go there?
Yeah, when it came to this, I watched it because despite my cynicism and how black-pilled I am, there is still a little part of me that's that excited young 20-something who's all like, yeah, bring it down.
Yeah,
this is good. Destroy Wall Street. But it's like, really,
unlikely.
It's really that we're cheering on money being taken away and fucking over other oligarchs for like smaller, much lesser internet edgelord oligarchs.
And that's precisely the fact, because it's still money changing hands from people in the know to other folks in the know. It's not a democracy. It's been framed as a democratization or a redistribution of wealth, and that's not what it is.
It did technically prove...
Actually, it kind of is what it is in this particular case.
Well, it did prove how undemocratic and that Wall Street is after they shut it down.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I didn't even touch on, and that's a huge point, dude. When Robinhood just stopped trading on that, and then they tried to cover their asses, like, oh, well, it was because the clearinghouse wasn't fully funded to do all of these rapid trades, and it's like, that is horseshit.
It's
dude.
like, wait a minute, that's not in the rules.
Yeah, dude. Well, and like, I haven't traded on Robinhood in a long time. I have several brokerage accounts, and that's not one that I kind of used often, largely because my investment strategy does not necessarily involve day trading at all, or even just stock trading. I kind of like to do index funds and
stuff for me that I then pay you.
Well, or I fund my IRA and I use those funds, and those funds are on a different brokerage than Robinhood. So it's just, you know, I think it's best to be very diverse, you know. So, and here's my here's the non-financial advice, because I'm not a professional. The tips and tricks from the borderline vagabond here, okay? Like, take your money and bury it in a fucking hole. That's my advice.
Dude, that's classic advice.
Take it and put it under your couch where your girlfriend can find it. Make sure that you...
that's bad.
You know, put it in between the folds of your cum rag in your dresser drawer for your mother to find.
That's bad. I think it's been scientifically proven that if you stash shit into jars and dig them into the earth,
you'll always find it again.
Literally, Mother Nature will protect you all your finances.
Yeah. And now only just partially joking. I think it's good to have a lot of things. Like, we were talking about collectibles earlier, and that's not a good investment strategy, but it can be an investment strategy. And then, of course, there's, you know, precious metals, which is a thing that I got really into in the 2011, 2012 era.
Yeah, you were the guy that saw, like, a Yahoo News article that saw ads that said, Ron Paul's war into America. And you clicked on it and you immediately bought the gold it told you to buy.
No, those things, the Gerald Celente scam on Coast to Coast and shit, that was all, you were buying futures in silver, not buying actual silver, and that's why it was so bullshit.
During the GameStop thing, that was the thing too, because I guess the strategy was like basically buff up GameStop and all these other failing enterprises like AMC. Yeah,
they would then have to sell the stock to the people.
But then like the oligarchs on Wall Street were like, hey, this is fun and all, but have you considered silver? And then everyone's like, no, don't fall for it. Keep the line. Share a Joker meme of him burning the money in Dark Knight, saying it's about sending a message.
Yeah, dude. Well, last I checked, gold was down like $200 an ounce, sort of as a result of this whole thing. Yeah.
During GameStonks too, when they were talking like GameStop, AMC, I immediately said, "Wait, can I invest in like Family Video still? I know that just like shuttered all its locations, but is there like still one?
Where did all that guy's CBD go? He's just bathing in it, like he's got a CBD hot tub.
All that CBD, all those like 2 for $1 rentals.
Man, I don't think I ever once went to a Family Video. I don't think ever one time. Yeah, I drove past them 100,000 times, but I don't think I ever went to one because they weren't a thing. When I was renting videos, Blockbuster or Hollywood Videos, where we went, like there was you remember the huge Hollywood Video on campus?
Yeah.
The 3-story thing with a Starbucks in it?
Yeah, that's the one I went to like early on. That's where like I first watched, God, what's that fucking conspiracy video?
Loose Change?
No, not Loose Change. It was something else that came out at a time, but it's supposed to be like a vision, a better world. It's like this techno crack anarchist future.
I don't think I remember this.
Like it had like prison planet imagery on it. You're supposed to break out of it. It has like three of them.
Was this an Alex Jones video?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Alex Jones clips are used though.
Okay.
Zeitgeist.
Oh, Zeitgeist. I remember that, dude. I always threw Zeitgeist in the same category as... Did you ever watch the movie What the Bleep Do We Know?
No, I heard of it.
Yeah, dude, it's the same thing to me. It's like, oh, dude, did you realize that there's this whole mystical, spiritual level to existence that you haven't been able to tap into? Do drugs! Like...
It's not wrong.
But dude, that video is basically saying you can like shout at water and change its crystalline structure and shit.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's fucking bizarre.
Sure,
man.
you sure they weren't saying watch anime?
Basically, that was a part of it too.
Actually,
Alex Jones is in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a fun fact: when this pandemic began, one of the things I was doing because I was so bored and paranoid and sad is that I watched all 3 Zeitgeist movies because they were available on YouTube.
Wow.
Some like conspiracy new age guy put it up along with like a bunch of art documentaries. So I just spent an entire weekend just destroying my brain matter watching Zeitgeist.
I gotta tell you about
and all this wonderful like 2000s CGI imagery, like this shitty planet that's covered in a cage, then like the cage explodes.
Yes, when I watched all of that stuff, man, that was back when I was living with Kenny at this undisclosed location in downtown Kalamazoo, dude. And we were stealing Wi-Fi from the business that was like down the street from us, and so like that. Have we even talked on this podcast about David Wilcock? Do you know who that is?
Wait,
is like a new age. He was part of the like 2012 is going to be a spiritual awakening.
Wait,
we're going to ascend to the
Wilcock, C-O-C-K,
Wilcock.
Oh,
not the
with the X.
Not with an X.
Oh, okay. Well,
Wilcock. David Wilcock.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
He was like lumped in with all the Coast to Coast AM guys, and he's on Ancient Aliens now. But back then,
wait, is he like the guy with the
he's got a big
hair?
Forehead. No, that's Giorgio Tsoukalos.
And he does this.
That's Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Oh, I'm glad you know these.
So David Wilcock was releasing all these videos in 2010 and 2011 about how like the global consciousness shift was going to occur in 2012. You remember this? The Band of the Mind calendar
I remember
thing?
2012.
So,
I remember a movie made out of that, too.
Right. Dude, there was... And he's part of all this thing. His like, world is called the Divine Cosmos. Is, like, his website. And, like, so, listen. Here's how this guy got all of his information, right? He has dreams where he so, first, background information, you need to know this. He is the reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. Casey.
Oh, okay.
So that's the thing. Like
Legit.
that's why
Sounds
he's
legit.
famous. That's why people like take him seriously.
I mean, if David Icke could be the reincarnation of Jesus, why not?
There you go, dude. So anyway, this guy has communication with the same like source body of knowledge that Edgar Casey had access to, and he has dreams and then writes down the dreams, and in these dreams they're prophetic, and that's what he uses to basically so then he parlayed that ability into remote viewing. Are you familiar with this concept?
I am.
Okay.
Remote
So
viewing.
apparently he's an expert at remote viewing as well, and then that allowed him to start remote viewing into like a place in space-time where he could then sort of directly receive messages from this being he called Ra. Very original.
Ra,
Yeah.
not the Egyptian god Ra.
No, I don't recall what his interpretation of it was, but basically then he was being guided to all of these like people that could connect him to various different like knowledge bases or whatever, like secret government people, but he can't reveal his sources. Of
course.
Those sources say that, and so he did a lot of that.
The
weird
truth will
shit.
come out soon enough.
Right. So the very first video that I watched from this guy was like maybe 2010, okay? And it was this speech at like Gaiam TV convention or something. Like it was before that, because it was before that existed. But it was these two people. It was a man and a woman, and I don't remember the name of their business or whatever it was, but they were basically hosting him to speak at this conference, and then they videotaped it, put it on YouTube, and that's what I was watching, basically. At first it was on Google Video, and then it got put on YouTube, so it was kind of when all of that was happening too. So I'm on a pirated internet connect. Like, this is the Wild West days, right? Like, you know, downloading shit on BitTorrent in one panel, and then, like, watching all of these crazy fringe things, like downloading Rachel Maddow show on podcasts in iTunes. Like,
ooh,
I was like,
edgy.
wait, right, edgy stuff. Like Craig Kilborn. No, not Craig Kilborn. Who was the guy? Who was the Keith Olbermann? I watched Keith Olbermann back then a lot. And so anyway,
I mean, what are you gonna do? Tell me next, man. I downloaded this Bill Maher skit. They didn't want you to see.
Oh yeah, Real Talk with Bill, whatever his podcast was, dude. I was that shows you where my brain was at around this time, 2010.
Former guest and comedian Scott Ryan just despises Bill Maher.
I dislike the guy. I'm ideologically very different from where I was back then.
He's a dickhead.
But dude, David Wilcock, you have just got to look at this guy's stuff.
I gotta look him up.
And because of course, when 2012 happened and
nothing
happened, this guy had to. I mean, this dude ate the biggest foot of them all, because it was like the days leading up to it. It's just like every 10 minutes he was posting shit on his website, and it's just like it's coming, dude. Today it's like 7:59 p.m. I don't think he ever said a specific time.
10 seconds left. Right? Goodbye, everyone.
And the next morning it was like, well, what the truth is that it really is more symbolic, and it's already happened. And it's just like, wait, what? No. You were talking like the fucking entire fabric of existence was going to invert, and time was going to have 3 dimensions, and space was only going to have 1, instead of space having 3 dimensions and time only having 1. So you're telling me that we're still living in 3-dimensional space, right? Dude, it was just the most ridiculous shit.
It wasn't a physical change. It was a spiritual change, and you need to be this level of spirituality to experience it.
So I want you to picture me back then, and the me that you need to picture is I'm completely covered in restaurant grease from like deep frying things all day. I have a ponytail down to my ass cheeks and a huge nasty beard, and I'm just chain smoking Camel Lights, right? So I'm watching these David Wilcock videos and Zeitgeist or whatever.
What book do you have where like you're in your barista outfit but you have like a gun to your head?
Yeah, that's the second one. That's A New Way Home.
Yeah, so you're kind of in that mode there.
Yeah, that was definitely that time. Absolutely.
A quick aside, yeah, you didn't get caught with that gun when you took that picture.
It's a prop gun.
Oh, okay, okay, that's
it's
fun.
a prop gun.
Wasn't like your manager, hey, I need to do this for my
I
book.
was the manager.
Okay. There you go.
The cooks helped me. They thought it was hilarious, dude.
Okay.
They thought it was the funniest shit ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you're a manager, you can do anything. I should know, because that's what the managers at my job act like all the time.
It was like 4 a.m., like 4 or 5 a.m. when we did that, too. So,
Perfect.
yeah, it was great.
Anyway, back to the story. You're sitting there, watching the clock go down.
Well, I want to illustrate the type of person I was, and it's like I'm surrounded in like empty bottles of Red Bull and like Heineken and like chain smoking in my bedroom, and like the walls are dripping with like tobacco juice and stuff. Like, have you ever, like every other house in the Vine neighborhood back then?
Pretty much.
And so that was my life, right? I was this little like internet rat that was like, I'm on the cutting edge of knowledge. I fucking know more about this shit than anybody. But I never took it serious. Like I didn't think anything was going to happen in 2012. I thought like I was consuming that content. I wanted to know everything about all the guys that were on Ancient Aliens. I read all their books, Childress and Wilcock and George Norrie from Coast to Coast, or all the dudes on Giorgio Tsoukalos. Like, I was way in on all that stuff. And like we've talked on the podcast before, that was kind of the impetus for some of my original traveling, like going to the pyramids, going to Machu Picchu, going to the Nazca Lines, going and scuba diving in Belize on the reef. Like, that was directly associated with weird ass like hallucinogen dreams that I had about like being shown like the new iteration of consciousness by a weird boatman in Belize, like, but like then of course I get to Belize and it's like nothing like my dream was, and I'm just like partying on a beach with some guy named Edwin, and I'm like, okay,
cool.
I think the prophetic dream was go to Belize, spend $750 and live like a king for a week, and then come back, and like you're not like elevating your own consciousness, you're just getting drunk.
I'm not elevating my consciousness, but I am doing a lot of awesome drugs. So
there was some drugs in Belize.
So you know what? Sure. You know what? Life's all right. Life's all right. Pass me that Yage. Yeah, God, 2012. Where was I?
We were talking about zeitgeist, and I had to give you this picture of who I was back then, dude.
I'm trying to think of what I was back then. God, I forget where I was. I was probably partying somewhere, because like now I just totally did not believe any of that shit. I'm like,
right.
Oh, come on. You know how many times I've heard and read about the world fucking ending? Ain't gonna happen. And of course it didn't.
Right. Well, we're children of the 80s, man. We watched Ghostbusters, and that's like a plot point of Ghostbusters, is that like the end of the world people are calling into Binkman's call-in show, and I grew up thinking, oh, there's like a class of the world that just likes to call into radio shows and think that the world is ending. Like, that's I grew up with that.
I mean, aside from 9/11 and COVID starting, the last time I like really have freak out about the world ending was Y2K.
Yeah. Yep, I remember.
And I wasn't even into conspiracy theories. I was a little kid, but I was constantly being told that the world was getting end. And I was like storing food my mom bought into like my locker.
I was an internet kid back then too.
Well, it wasn't even. I wasn't an internet kid either. I just watched TV.
No, I was.
And it was constantly being bought like, Y2K gonna take everything down because the clocks won't go.
Well, we got access to the internet in '96, the summer of 1996. And so by 1999, I was way into it, And so I was on message boards and bulletin boards and AOL chat channels and stuff back then, around that time. And everyone was basically like, this is really dumb. Like, although there's like some merit to it, because really, really old, like 1950s computers that aren't connected to anything would have suffered from this problem, but like it's just not an issue. And then nothing happened, but like everybody was like, turn off your computers on I think I still did on New Year's Eve 1999. I have pictures of New Year's Eve 1999. I had a party in my parents' basement, dude. Kevin was there. It was fun.
You had a lot more fun than I did, because here's what I remember about Y2K. nothing happened, honestly. And since we were in grade school and that, went to bed early. And, well, okay, I think we stayed up and watched New Year's, but that's about it. Yeah, then the next day, well, let's put it this way, a lot of conflict growing up, mostly involving my brother, and he was being a little shit all day, particularly because we got our computer and we couldn't figure out how to turn on the monitor, so he was getting angry about that and arguing with me, arguing with my mom, and so it was basically like having to put up with that shit and like watching Nickelodeon like all day long. They just had these kids on that were talking about their dreams for the future in the new millennium. And even as a little kid, I kind of had like a no future mindset. So putting up with all this arguing between my brother and mother at home, mixed in with like these little kids talking about how great their future was going to be, really depressed me. And eventually my dad got home from work. And my mom went somewhere, I think maybe church, and, well, she was crying because she couldn't handle it. So my dad then bitched us out, saying, like, your mom shouldn't have to go to church crying. So I'm like, yeah, happy first day of the new fucking millennium. It's the way you're starting it out. Then a year later, 9/11 happened, and... Oh, Daddy.
Oh, man, what a weird time that was, too. I was in high school, and, like, we watched the second plane hit on TV, like, live in the classroom.
Same here.
Crazy to think of.
Same here. We got, I guess they just, I was trying to remember how it went. Like, for some reason, even though we had TVs and that we could use in the classrooms, they decided it was a good idea to, like, bring specific groups of kids one at a time to like watch it in the library, including me.
Weird.
So we're watching it, then second plane, fuck.
Right.
And it didn't hit me like the gravity of it. Because I think I was just too little to like realize it.
I remember speaking, like I'll vividly remember this. I was in English class after it had happened, a couple hours after it had happened. I was talking with my buddies Alex and Peter, and basically the context of the conversation, or the gist of the conversation, was like, well, this isn't a big surprise because it had only been 8 years previous that the World Trade Center had been bombed, and then like there was the Libyan nationalist group in Back to the Future, it's all kind of like, it's sort of there in what is reality to us.
Ghostbusters, Back to the Future.
And there had been an embassy bombing like a couple of months before that. And like I was in a global issues class that semester too. So like it was sort of in the forefront of my mind, like terrorist attacks happen and like America has sort of been shielded from that in a way. Like we had the Lockerbie bombing, and then there was like a couple of other things that had sort of happened that we were talking about in that global issues class when 9/11 happened. So I was talking to these guys who were in that global issues class with me, and I was just like, well, like, this is sad because thousands of people died and like a huge building was blown up in New York, but like I don't understand why everybody is shocked. Like this could never possibly happen here. Like it literally happens all over the world all the time, and it's not good for America to have to face a challenge like that, or for anyone to have to face a challenge like that, but it should sort of be expected like in modern nations that this is a thing that we have to confront and sort of figure out. And so that being a thing that we were sort of thinking about already, when that happened, it wasn't like, oh my God, our innocence. What? It was more just like, oh, well, welcome to the fucking real world, Like, and I disagree with that standpoint, but me as I was 16 when that happened, so a junior in high school, and I'm just like, well, this happens around the world, so what we should do is sort of focus on how to gauge the retaliatory effects of this, like what happened, like let's do the science, and then everything devolved into, well, can jet fuel burn aluminum, and why did Building 7 fall apart, and like,
what if they spread thermite paint around the buildings?
Right, and of course, that's a whole can of worms now, 20 years later. And God, it's crazy to think that was 20 years ago, too.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's going to be 20 years this September.
Yeah.
Time flies.
It sure does, dude. Well, think about how different the world is. Like, I didn't have a cell phone in 2001. We had internet access, but it was dial-up. It was one computer for my entire family. We had 2 televisions in the house. One in the kitchen and one in the living room. And I think maybe that year we bought a third one for the basement where I was, because like my parents' house in 2001.
The perfect location for you to get into all things internet, the basement.
Yeah, exactly. Well, our basement it was 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom.
Oh, it was actually a good.
It was like a little apartment.
It wasn't like a Michigan basement.
No, not at all. No, and so we moved there in 2000, maybe 2001, 1999. I don't remember exactly. And the house that we had beforehand, our computer room was like the old, like what was the formal dining room in the house, like, just got made into the computer room. And so the first 3 years, that's where I viewed the internet. Was like, my parents had to get a second phone line because I was on the internet so much. Right,
dude, my dad would get so angry because my brother and I were on there so much.
Yeah.
And my dad would go between just angrily yelling at you and also angrily whining, let's put it that way. Like I remember he picked up one time when I was just sitting on the couch and my brother was on the internet somewhere, beep, beep, beep. And he's like, God fucking damn, you can't make a fucking phone call in this house. Jesus fucking Christ. He stomped away. FYI, my dad's a lot better now, but I think that's because he's older and retired.
This is 20 years ago.
Retired, and also because my brother and I are both in our 30s, and if he were to say something like that to us now, we'd probably tell him to fuck off and never talk to him.
Right. Yeah, dude.
It's like,
it's crazy how time goes on and, like,
people change,
and, like, the biggest thing to learn about, like, self-improvement, too, is that if you're going to allow space for yourself to grow, you also have to allow space for other people to grow around you, too.
Yeah,
so, like, you can't hold people in the same light as
True, I believe that.
Yeah.
With my dad, I think, I won't get into the incidents. Maybe some other time on a future podcast. Episode 750.
Right, yeah.
But I think it's more like, my dad thinking one day was like, maybe I should stop acting like this and call my oldest son a cocksucker, or else he's not going to want to have a relationship with me.
I think a lot of people have to face that in their later years, man.
Yeah. Anyway, wow. As always, we just ramble on about shit.
Yeah, what a swirl of fucking ideas here.
But before we get on some more topics, last thing about Wall Street, because that's where we started.
Is it?
Cause
what a journey we've been on.
It's been 32 minutes. A long, strange trip it's been. This is great content. People love the rambling. I will say this, as much as I enjoyed the GameStop thing, barely understood it. I don't like Wall Street. I don't understand it. I would love to watch it burn because I think it's evil. Like, Allen Ginsberg, well, okay, he didn't call it Wall Street, but he called like a business building Moloch in Howell. That's kind of how I view it. What really shaped my view of Wall Street, actually, was this movie about the life of Abby Hoffman. Remember that activist? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the beginning... I forget who stars in it. I think Janine Garofalo plays his girlfriend/wife. Good movie, but I think the opening scene is like Abby and his yuppies like just go into Wall Street. By the way, in the 60s, you just walk on in, no prob. And like they just had like a bunch of like dollar bills in a bag, so they went up to like, I don't know, the second floor or some shit. Just start dumping the money down onto the floor where all the traders are. And all these traders, who are just getting thousands of millions of dollars, deciding their futures, the future of the country, blah, blah. They all just stop and just start grabbing the money on the floor. Just rapid. And then, of course, Abby and them did to make a point about how fucking greedy these people are, to the point where, like, they'll ditch, a deal, just go pick up a bunch of dollar bills.
Right? Exactly. They'll ignore a multi-million-dollar transaction to step away and grab dollar bills.
Yeah, I don't like that, and I wish I could burn it to the ground, gulag everyone in there.
Right? Man, I'm so conflicted about that. Because I agree with you. I kind of want to watch it all burn, but what I want to see is I want to see the wealth of the billionaire oligarchical ruling class nasty assholes. I want to see them fucking fleeced. That's what I want to see. I don't care about the stock market, dude. I want to see these
that's
guys
nice too.
fleeced.
That's why I love GameStop so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also another reason why I save. Like, I'm a savings freak, because, okay, these motherfuckers are going to crash this thing down, bring Great Depression too, so I better save my money.
Well, I don't think that the goal is to bring everything down. I think it's just to get, get money in the hands of people that fucking need it, dude. Like, again, I keep seeing all this, this great argument about, the resources that it would require to actually like if you wanted to earn $1 billion in the scaled economy of your output, it's if you make these are completely arbitrary numbers, but it was something if you start in Egypt and invest in a company, you invest $1,000 in a company at certain amount of interest, by the time you get to present day, you still don't have $1 billion. The scale of what it takes to be a multi-billionaire is just, it's a non-human scale. And I think it's a really fucked up nature of existence that people can accumulate these, it's a representative resource. Money is not even an actual resource. It's just something that
we all make up.
Exactly, it's a tool to get resources, right? So when you accumulate multiple billions of dollars, it doesn't do anybody any good, and it just ties up the system so that other people can't use that money to accelerate the economy. If you just have billions of dollars in a fucking bank account, and it's not real estate, and it's not products that are going to be sold, it's not inventory, it's not money that's been put out as an investment for another company to buy printers and desks for its new staff members. If it's just gaining interest in a bank account on paper, what fucking good are you doing society by being rich? And the answer is none. You're holding it back. And you're doing negative good.
Again, do they deserve that money? I mean, just standing there and trading compared to,
and I struggle with agreeing with that.
Compared to working class heroes like us,
right?
Me working at a warehouse for over 8 years now, you work in various jobs and now have your small business, even though technically you contract out to another business to help run your small business.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're always
basically what I'm saying is you and I will work harder than these motherfuckers ever will. And our actions won't crash the economy.
Right. Yeah, dude. I see a lot of change. I don't think to where we were a year ago. You and I basically liked to talk about our travel experiences and the fun,
in the before time.
Exactly. Well, then all of a sudden, we had the Black Lives Matter protests, we had the COVID shutdowns, and
still ongoing.
Still ongoing. Sure. Still a problem.
Which we'll talk about in a sec. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, but just think about where we were a year ago and how much more plugged in we are into reality right now, even though we can't even interface with reality. That's the craziest thing to me, is that I think the changes that we're going to see is people. Oh, I think that's my phone. I think,
or it could be the ghost. I guess.
I think people are hungry for a real, visceral, feelable, attendable change. People want to see real change in their life. They don't want to see a $1,400 check from the federal government. They don't want to see platitudes on television. They don't want to see internet campaigns for, like, donating money to the senator of your choice's campaign. Like, they don't want to do any of that. What people want to see is, they want to see Bill Gates and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and stuff. They want to see those guys fucking crucified, dude. And I struggle with that a little bit, because they did have unique ideas and they built businesses, and I know firsthand how difficult it is to build a business. But also, at a certain point, and I'm sort of in this phase of building a business, you have to relinquish some control to other people, and it's at that point where it's not really that guy doing it anymore. It's the team that he built. And for this one flagship guy to have control of all the resources of the company is sort of unfair to everyone that works for him. And that may sound a little like weirdly pro-union or pro-like workers' rights for me, but I also, like you were saying, I came from scrubbing fucking shit off of walls and, like, cleaning puke out of trash cans and stuff, dude. Like, I know what it's like to do manual labor and to work hard for literally nothing. For $7 an hour, for $6.50 an hour, scrubbing the shit of people who make 10 times that much money. And they can afford to just go out and eat until they vomit in the bathroom that you have to clean up. And, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my frame of mind. Like, I want the possibility for me to create a business where many people can be made millionaires, but I don't ever expect to be or want to be a billionaire. And I think it's ridiculous for anyone to accumulate that much, because by that point you should have sold some shit. Like, how many houses can you fucking live in? You know?
Dude, that is such a huge argument or debate / conversation, whatever. I mean, I've complained many a times of, I love Kanye West, but I don't think he should own a fucking mountain.
No.
Kind of thing.
No.
But,
I don't mean to commandeer your podcast here, buddy. I'm sorry.
You fool. You thought you were on the Garret Schuelke podcast, but you were on the Zach Elmblad experience.
I'm just here spouting off into the fucking wind, man.
Rant by day, fake THC by night, all day.
All day.
But, it must be said, too, that Wall Street's official symbol is a fucking golden cow. Mm-hmm. Remind you of anything?
Well, do you remember the Occupy Wall Street movement? Didn't we talk about that a couple podcasts ago?
Maybe.
Like, I had the magazine where they released the article.
Yeah, Adbusters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love Adbusters. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, during game stonks, maybe still going on, they have to have armed guards around that fucking statue. Oh my God, you're defending a golden calf.
Fucking penis wrinkles, dude.
God.
Oh my God.
Glares in Moses.
The ruling elite in this fucking country is completely ridiculous and out of touch, dude. It's just so apparent now.
I know.
You can't live a normal life anymore.
Actually, that's what Robert Evans, Behind the Bastards, talked about.
Yeah.
He's saying, like, oligarchs in, like, say, Canada and over Europe are just as bad, if not worse. Mm-hmm. But they realize that they want to live in a society where everything's still going, and the little people, i.e. us, don't want to murder them all the time. So that's why they give, help during a pandemic, universal health care, shit like that.
It's the bread and circus
thing.
Yeah,
whereas here in America, it's like, let them suffer. Fuck are they going to do?
Fuck yeah, it is, dude.
Then when it happens, it's like, we got to protect the Ace Hardware.
Yeah. Well, that and, like, what was it the other day? The Texas governor was when everything froze, like the entire electricity grid went down in Texas, and he's just like, "You're on your own. Fuck you."
Abbott. I think he wants to be like the only guy in Texas, like the only living human being.
Yeah, dude, like,
I mean,
wait,
what? I mean, first he basically said fuck everyone after their winter storms, but then he like got rid of all COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
Which someone made a fake tweet of him saying like, I was saddened to learn that I haven't killed everyone in Texas after the storm. I have taken measures to remedy this.
Man, you know, the COVID restriction thing is going to be a bear as it fades away.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, dude, let's bring it on.
Because Zach, it is March 2021.
It is.
It's been 1 year, man.
It has.
1 year later since this all started.
It's true.
How do you feel?
I feel still alive.
Good.
I feel like 500,000 people died in our country.
Bad.
I feel
that's bad.
I feel like it has brought back up the anti-vaccine people
That's very
into
bad.
the world.
That's very bad.
Very bad. I feel like also here's where I bend with all of that line of thought. I think they're becoming a little oppressive. Yeah, I do.
Very good.
I do. And I think that we should start leaning a little more towards personal responsibility. But I say that in full knowledge that personal responsibility doesn't fucking exist, and that's why we have to have rules in a society, because people still won't follow them, and they need to be held accountable to something on a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's been one of my struggles as a leftist, because a lot of the left rhetoric is obviously to blame the government and corporations and that, which is true. A lot of it does hold off a lot of state, local, and federal government has a lot of responsibility, a lot of fuck-ups, and corporations, especially the ones that are distributing the vaccines, could have been done better.
Sure.
But on the other hand, like, just especially this past year, like, I've seen just so much shitty behavior, including now that I just can't totally disavow people, I guess.
There's been a lot of really difficult to swallow behavior, man.
Oh, yeah.
All these racist assholes that came out of the fucking woodwork in the last year that we all kind of knew existed, but I had no idea they were so common. I really didn't. I honestly had no idea that racism was that big of a fucking problem. And, like, I'm fairly well educated in systemic racism. I have had umpteen conversations with people who have felt marginalized, and I have tried to expand my mind, but I'm not affected by a lot of those things, so it is difficult to see sometimes, and I know that I've had shortfallings in that, but like I didn't realize that people walk around all day literally just thinking that some races are completely inferior. I thought that was a history book thing. I didn't realize that was like people that you go to the grocery store and like you see them and like give them the like white guy nod. Like, that guy could just be, like, a complete foaming racist. That's crazy. I did not realize that, dude. And I think that has been made completely apparent, and we cannot ignore it. Like, that is incredibly fucked up, dude. All these Asian hate crimes happening in the last couple of weeks now. Dude, this is so bad. Like, it's not what we have ever stood for ideologically. And, I mean, at least ostensibly, like, at least what we say and what we profess about what our nation believes is not fucking racist. And, like, to have been made to bear witness to these events in the last year, I'm more concerned about the endemic racism than I am the coronavirus pandemic now. And it's sort of weird that coronavirus sort of made all of this stuff float up to the top.
Well, actually, I got a nice little meme here that you will like.
Cool.
But
bring on the memes. Bring on the memes.
I like how you're more accepting of memes now, because I think like at first like you didn't get it.
I didn't.
But hang out with me for like I don't know, since 2017. But yeah, because as you know, a lot of the anti-Asian hate is actually at its core anti-China, but since we're America and we're fucking dumb, you know,
can't differentiate
Yeah.
between the different Asian cultures.
Yeah,
It's
I mean-
also
I
an
mean-
aspect of racism.
I mean, not that it would be any better if it was specifically anti-Chinese hate. Like, oh, you're Japanese? Okay, well, I just hate Chinese people. Don't worry, you're cool. But yeah, a lot of our media does that. Like, here's this nice little collage. Because a New York Times writer recently wrote, why has there been a spike in anti-Asian hate? And this person put together a collage of, like, articles and covers from the New York Times, the Economics, the Financial Times, and some others. And let's see, first one. This is the dystopian fiction. This is not dystopian fiction. This is China. The Chinese threat to American speech. I'll just read it out and I'll show you after. Next one says, buying up the world, and it has Mao Zedong, his portrait, but he has a lot of cash. Next one is China's designs for Europe. It has Mona Lisa with like a Chinese flag fan. Another one, how China gets American companies to parrot its propaganda. Then The Economist, how bad will it get? And it shows the world with like a mask that's the Chinese flag.
Yep.
Then
That's what we call propaganda.
yeah, here's some more. Sharp power, the new shape of Chinese influence, and it's shaped like COVID. And then why Europe will choose the U.S. over China, and it shows like a dog reaching for a bone with like a Chinese red demon hand. Then another one, China's extraterritorial threat, and it shows like these bear traps under a red background. Then China's long arm reaches into American campuses, and it shows like a typical American campus, but like a Chinese New Year dragon surrounding it. Then another one, and Sir China challenges the West, and it shows like this fucking dragon demon claw around about to grab the world. And then
What if they were just people that lived in a fucking town and they were trying to work and eat food? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what?
It's so
what
so
are you
insane,
talking?
dude.
What are you talking about?
This propaganda is so fucking egregious.
And the final one, can American values survive in a Chinese world?
What's an American value anymore? Yeah, this is so crazy, dude.
Having Cold Wars with communist countries.
And ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah, but, okay, so it's been, just marvel at some of this great propaganda that's got.
Well, I mean, you know where some of this is coming from. Like, they've been buying up a lot of ports in Africa and South America.
True.
Like, they've been they've been encroaching on territorial rights in the South China Sea. They've been doing a lot of, like, weird, like, economic bullying in Scandinavia and in Eastern Europe. Yeah, but the thing is like, man, and I've been arguing this for years. It's in my books too. Like, I think that hegemony is an antiquated concept. Like, I don't think that there can be a like de facto leader of the world anymore, because like the fact that information exchange happens instantaneously, like, it's a global community, and there's never going to be one primary thought leader. And like, just the idea that there was a primary thought leader in antiquity is sort of not even relevant to the modern world, because there was no instantaneous communication. So like, the idea of like the Western hemisphere versus the Eastern hemisphere, like, that was also sort of the scope of the ability to communicate at that time too. Like, the idea that China is going to take over the United States' position in the world is sort of idiotic, because the United States doesn't even have the position in the world that these people are fantasizing that it does. And, like, there's places that exist in the fucking world where people think that Americans are stupid and that it's just, like, our entire way of life is just sort of disgraceful. And in the same way that we think about other people like that, dude. And, like, for us to go around the world thinking that we're going to be able to be the ideological leaders of the entire, like, mass of human beings on Earth is fucking stupid, and China won't be able to do it either. Like, there's language barriers involved, there's geographical barriers involved.
China's doing more economically. Like,
they are.
They're not doing it like America, where it's like, hey, let's invade and, like, drone strike.
Or, like, take over, you know,
entire
governments and fund guerrilla movements, or, like, all the sort of soft shit that they did.
Yeah, that's why they get into, like, insidious shit like China's influence on universities.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's naive to say that stuff doesn't exist, but what I'm saying is that the end result of that is not going to be a situation where America was dominant and now China is dominant. It's that they're both dominant forces that are on, like, a multi-tiered playing field, and they, like, there are other competitors on those playing fields too. So, like,
but really, I think it's just we want to get a Cold War with China going.
They do.
I mean, we already kind of pretty much were on an economic front. Mm-hmm. Then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And kind of changed the game there for a second.
It did.
And
changed everybody's games. We still don't know how the pieces go back together either.
Yeah. Matter of fact, here's some nice propaganda. Have you ever heard of the Washington Examiner?
I have.
Right-wing rag.
Yeah.
It's one of which I used to mistake for the Washington Post back in the day, because unlike Washington Post, you can read all the Washington Examiner's articles for free. And they put out this one on. You're gonna love this screenshot. The article itself is pretty boring, but just the tweet for it is amazing. Tell me, Zach, how was your St. Patty's Day?
I spent it in this room working.
Are you, by chance, Irish American at all?
I am not.
Oh, then you're good to go, because the opinion of the Washington Examiner is Irish Americans are at their best when serving others.
Yikes!
Here's how you serve indentured servants. You know, the Irish were slaves too, by the way, just like black people. That's why black people should stop complaining about racism.
Yikes!
Okay, everyone, I'm joking.
Yeah,
that's literally what some of these dumb people think.
That is a talking point of idiots. That is true.
But to continue the tweet here, the U.S. may be called upon yet again to fight in the Pacific, this time against Chinese communists. We hope not, but if we must, Irish Americans will be there. So Zach Elmblad, are you ready to fight in the Pacific, but instead of Imperial China, you're fighting Imperial Japan, you're fighting Chinese communists?
No, dude, I will not fight for this country. I will not do that. Plus, I'm too old anyway.
But really, that's a good example of the type of bullshit propaganda we're being fed.
We are being fed a lot of propaganda. It's very hard to sift through.
Yeah. Which, speak of propaganda,
something beeped.
No, it's my phone, and what's this? Garret Schuelke sent you a friend request, but Gary has 2 R's.
Someone's impersonating you?
No, I think someone's impersonating my father, who is also named Gary. And this happened before a couple of years back, and we reported the fuck out of that profile. Let's see, blank profile, 1 friend so far. Yeah, excuse me, folks. Let me.
He's got to take care of some modern issues. Real time.
Let me report this profile here for impersonating my actual father, my boomer dad, on Facebook.
What a fucking world we live in, man. I mean, this is so...
Okay, well, never mind. It won't let me do it for some reason. I'll do it later.
This is really relevant to the conversation that we've been having for the last hour, though.
Yeah, but let's get back to COVID. We already talked about China. Okay, so it's been a year later. anything recent with COVID that you've had to deal with?
No, other than trying to get a hold of a vaccine.
So you haven't been vaccinated?
I have not been. No, I will be though. I mean, once I'm available.
Oh yeah, next month is gonna be open for everyone.
Yeah, and I'll go get it, man. I'm not a bitch. I'll get vaccinated for this, especially if I can't leave the country unless I have some type of paper record of whatever. I don't give a fuck. I want my freedom back.
Yep.
Is what I really want. And if all I have to do is pay $100 for a doctor's visit or whatever it is, like
I think it's all free.
Probably. I will even pay for it. I'd pay $200. I pay $1,000 for this fucking thing, dude, just to have it. Like I want to be able to have a society again. And if that is the hurdle that needs to be jumped, then I'm willing to jump over that hurdle. Like, it seems very small to me. You know?
Yeah, good news. I am getting vaccinated this week, Thursday. Because
awesome.
First our job did the whole, hey, sign up via text, and then, they'll call you. But then just out of fucking nowhere last week, this past week, they decided to have a clinic just come on up to the warehouse. People go 2 at a time at different time slots. Best of all, it's the Johnson & Johnson one, the one shot.
Yeah.
So my coworker Chad and I, we decided to be really brave. We both signed up for the 9 o'clock one. We are going to go hold hands, and we are going to get our autism microchips.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah. Mark me with the number of the beast. Like, that hasn't been done already. I don't even believe in that dumb fucking religion.
I'm surprised there hasn't been any, anti-vax protests around here. There was out in California.
Yeah.
They even had, calling cops because they thought these nut jobs were going to bum rush.
There's a little local flavor we can add to this story because I almost had a chance to get vaccinated next week. And so
really?
Here is the local flavor. There's a city west of Kalamazoo called Paw Paw. Okay, Paw Paw is a stronghold of right-wing conservatism.
Which, if people looked, last time I heard they were having fights over their mascot, who is a very offensive indigenous character.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think they've gotten rid of it since, but a lot of white people complaining about their heritage of racist cartoon figures.
Yes, I mean you could kind of type class the prevailing thought patterns of a lot of people in Paw Paw to be predominantly associated with the right-wing conservative
it's kind
Donald Trump QAnon people.
It's kind of your typical small town that's conservative that surrounds a larger liberal city.
Exactly, and that is a you could copy and paste that exact situation to another 250 or 300 U.S. cities. It's a population of 10,000 next to a population of 60,000. Kalamazoo's not even the metropolitan. Grand Rapids is the West Michigan major city. That's where you would go for higher education.
Second biggest city in Michigan after
business.
Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're talking about. A small city compared to a small city that is a small city, and even Grand Rapids is a small city compared to other metropolitan areas in the United States. But when people talk about it being a microcosm, that's definitely what it is. And so anyway, because of this prevailing thought pattern, there's a pharmacy in Paw Paw that keeps getting over allocated amounts of because the vaccine allocations are commensurate with the population, right? So many people in Paw Paw are refusing to get the vaccine although they're eligible for it, that the pharmacy opened it up to people that are not in the area. So you could
that's good though.
You could because they want to use the doses before they expire rational participants in the global community that we fucking exist in. Trying to progress the world through this horse shit is all these people are trying to do, right? And so it's good because they are now able to distribute those vaccines to people who maybe didn't have the have it arranged through their workplace or like couldn't get to it, right? And so I'm still ineligible for this though because I don't meet the government criteria. Like I'm not critical manufacturing, I'm not a teacher, I don't work with people who are sick, I don't
dude,
I'm not over 55.
Dude, at least you know for sure that you're not eligible.
Right.
It's another thing I'm glad about getting this vaccine besides not dying from this or be able to do this and that. It's just, God, my fucking parents, my boomer ass parents, have been bugging me for months to get it, and their rationale is that, well, you know, you're a warehouse worker, and they say that, you know, you're important. I'm like, yeah, they say I'm important, but it's really not. It's not the same as like a nurse or something.
Sure, and I mean, I could make the same argument. You know, I make house calls all day. I'm around sick and old people all the time.
I know, but it's
but
because
by definition,
this is one of those things where like they care, but you try to tell them otherwise, they don't listen. And my dad just is trying to find ways for me to do it. Some of which, well, not illegal, but you get in trouble for them. Like a lot of them range on, like, the stories you've heard, like, people cutting in line and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm not going to ever do anything.
Yeah, I'm like, Dad, I can't do that. I could probably get in trouble and lose my legit spot because they'll think I'm trying to fuck over people. Well, you gotta care about yourself, so, you know, son, sign up for this and that, you know, maybe you should stretch the truth a little bit. To get in front of this granny.
Man, and that is such a great example of why, like, it's the same thing, like, we agreed the speed limit's 70 here, but when you're driving, it's actually 80.
Yeah.
And then if you want to be a douchebag and go slow, you put your cruise control at 75. But if anyone goes past a cop, at any moment they could pull you over for going 71. So, like, the way society works and the way it's supposed to work and the way that it's written down to work are all three different fucking things. And for me, personally, I want to stay above reproach. So I want, like, just like you're saying, I don't want them to take away my ability to actually get it when I'm eligible according to them, whoever they are, by trying to buy my way into a dose that I'm not eligible for or whatever. I don't need the shit, dude. I don't. I mean, like...
But Zach, if you dress up, if you go to Goodwill and get some granny clothes, and you dress up like a grandma,
right?
You can cut in line of all these other people that need it, get your shot, because you should only care about yourself.
I'm 36, I'm healthy. The last time I went to a doctor, he told me I didn't need to come back for a while because I'm just good. Like, I'd just be wasting money if I go bother him, you know? Like, I'm in health. What I don't want to do is spread this virus to somebody else that could get sick. And so I participate in the cultural ritual that we have developed of, like, raising my mask when I walk inside a door like it's actually doing something. And I know this argument is being made by people that I disagree with strongly, but the thing is that I've always been a person that argues for personal responsibility. And so I don't wear a mask because I think it's actually going to keep me from breathing in this coronavirus. I wear a mask because we've been told to, and I don't want to rock the boat. But for me, I think that the fact that I am now wearing, so this buff that I use as my mask, I'm now wearing it on my head as a hat. And I know that there's no visual aspect to this podcast, but this is what I'm getting at.
You look very psychedelic.
In order for the mask to perform as it's spec'd out to supposed to perform, it's supposed to be a surgical mask, and it's supposed to be one-time use only and disposed as soon as you touch it or contaminate it in any way. So going to the store and wearing the same, like, cloth Mickey Mouse mask every day and never washing it is just, it's worse than wearing. What I keep thinking about this stuff as I'm driving around all day.
Well, it does work. I mean,
yeah. It does.
Maybe not as well for COVID because COVID is extremely.
And that's not what I mean.
What's the word? Catchable, not
right.
Catchable,
I'm not saying the mask doesn't work because it does.
Yeah, I mean, flu numbers this year has just been down to historical levels. So it's like, it doesn't work for this, but it works for that.
And that's what I'm saying, dude, is like, it's like a weird precaution now that has become kind of like a scarlet letter or something in its lack. Like, if I walk down the hallway and need to go take a piss, it's like 500 feet away from my door. But I will get in trouble and could risk being kicked out of this building for not putting a fucking cloth mask on my face, even when there's no one in the hallway for me to walk past. And that's what's infuriating to me, is that people are like, dude, you can't use any rational thought in here. Like, I have the mask with me, and if someone's coming near me, I'll put it on. I'm trying to be considerate, and I'm trying to prevent the spread of this disease that we're all so concerned about. I get all that. But if I can't walk down the hallway and take a piss, like, how many fucking cases in Kalamazoo? 2,500? Like, dude, it's the 500,000 people that died in the United States did not all die in Kalamazoo. Like,
Or did they?
It's a rational response to threat, right? A threat assessment thing. And I am comfortable in these gray area zones. And for me, I think, if I go up to the drive-thru, I pop on the mask, But I don't see a lot of people doing that. And I bet you people that won't step foot into Costco without their mask on and would yell at anyone who's in Costco without their mask on probably doesn't wear the mask at a restaurant when they go and sit down and stuff like that. It's like, you need to be able to be malleable in this as we fade back into a point where you're not required to wear a mask to walk into the gas station for 5 seconds to hand someone your credit card. Like, there's a barrier in between you already. Like, most of those people put up plexiglass barriers. And stuff,
but that's because they're worried about getting robbed.
And plexiglass barriers existed previously. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the really flimsy ones that are just like in front of a cash register as like a sneeze guard, like at Old Country Buffet or something,
Oh, okay.
And like, that to me is a rational response. Like, if you go to the weed store, they just have a bunch of like plexiglass set up. It's not a security measure. It's a COVID protocol. That shit's there's going to be a lot of recycled polycarbonate sheeting in the next 2 or 3 years as people take that shit down because it's cumbersome. You can't hear people talk. You can't. I am hard of hearing because of playing drums for 30 years. So I lip read when I am talking to people. Most of the time when I'm talking to people in a public space, I can't hear 50% of the words so I'm just guessing.
Oh, really? So,
yes.
like our entire conversation.
No, in a quiet room, I can hear. Just fine. But like, if I go to a store and I'm trying to have a conversation with a cashier, and they've got a mask on their face, which is decreasing their volume by, say, 10 or 15 decibels, and then you've got a physical barrier between you that's decreasing it another 10 or 20 decibels, and all of a sudden, it's so quiet that I can't hear it. And so I need to be able to read their facial expressions and their lips to kind of guess, like, did they say lake or rake or Jake or take? I don't know. Like, I heard ache, and I didn't hear the consonant.
Dude, I have that problem all the time, except for I do it because I sound like I have Down syndrome.
It's a communication thing.
Our struggles are not the same.
Right. No. Well, and my struggle isn't the same as anybody. And, of course, that's a preface to even talking to me, because it's all just fucking thought experiments for me anyway.
But, okay, so one thing I want to ask you is, when do you think this year that we'll go back to normal?
I think it won't be this year.
Oh, you don't?
I don't, no. And, I mean, I could eat foot on that. Because it could be that everybody who wants a vaccine has got one in 2 months, and by September everybody is just like butt fucking in the park. I don't know,
I mean, I'm hoping for sometime this fall, because
I think that's reasonable.
Because I personally think that sounds reasonable, and that's what a good old Dr. Fauci, aka Plandemic guy. Yep. That's what I think. That was his first guess when this started. So, like, well, we should have everything ready by fall 2021. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, I think fucking Joe Biden said that he wants America's independence to be July 4th this year from COVID. Which I'm like, dude, it's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah, well, of course, it doesn't disappear because everybody says it's gone.
Well, first of all, that's just way too soon, I think.
Yeah.
Even with, like, record vaccination numbers. And two, just like Trump, he's just putting it on a symbolic day.
Yeah.
It's
not productive to do that.
It's like the prophecies of 2012 and shit.
You're damn right it is.
It's like,
we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, so I just think that's dumb. But
no, I think the fade is going to come in fits and starts, and I think that there's going to be a lot of double backing, and I think that we're going to see like this shit in Florida where they deregulated, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of cases, so they got to rethink it again, and same in Texas, and so like. But what you don't see now is that they're not reporting the death numbers because they're going down significantly. And when you go looking at the Johns Hopkins COVID tracker that I've been glued to since this time last year, like the cases are pretty steady, but the deaths it's just nowhere near compared to like the percentage of cases that result in death now have been on a steady decrease.
That's good.
For more than 6 months, I think.
Dude, facts like this is why I should like download a soundboard onto my phone so I can get that Homer Simpson sound good of him saying, "That's good," or "That's bad."
Yep. Those would be good soundboard quotes.
A future podcast, maybe next one.
We still got to try video sometime, too.
Oh, yeah. We got to go full zoo crew sometime.
Yeah, man.
But, so I personally think it's going to be fall. Like, when things will start opening. I don't think there will be international travel until next year, which is a bummer.
It is.
I would go back to Canada.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to Panama.
Actually, I think you probably could get to Panama.
You can, yeah. They're letting us in, but I want to go fully legal. I don't want anyone to give me grief about traveling out of the country or any of that shit. And I don't want to have to wear a mask on a fucking airplane, dude. And I know that's me being a bitch. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with me, like my beliefs or anything like that. I just don't want to do it because I already struggle enough with being uncomfortable.
Well, that's what I want to ask you too. Besides, when you think it'll be quote unquote normal, is how long do you think it'll take for you to go back to quote unquote normal?
I don't think I will, and the reason for that is because I make house calls. As long as there's a percentage of the population that expects me to wear a mask in their home, I will always show up with a mask. So long after the kids at Meyer don't have to wear it anymore, long after everybody takes down their mask required sign off their doors, I will still have one in my pocket because there's always going to be some crazy grandma that's like, you will not wear shoes in my home, you must wear a mask, and here's some hand sanitizer. They literally do it to me once a week. I show up to someone's house.
Well, granted, at least at the beginning, there were some people that were doing kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, telling you, like, yeah, you know that mask you're wearing doesn't work, you know.
Yeah, people get... And that's the thing, man. I get all of it. I hear everything. Every opinion that anyone has had about it, I have heard. And for me, I think the most pragmatic and practical way to be is if there's 1 out of 100 people that wants me to wear a mask, I will have that mask. But for me, I already don't give a fuck. You can come in this room and not wear a mask, I will say 0 words to you.
Yeah, I know. I've been doing that all year, in fact.
I don't care. I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
Granted... Well, I do think you are a little because I have tried to French kiss you numerous times, and you just will not allow it.
I'm a damaged person, and I just don't appreciate human touch.
Well, this is news to me because I thought this was like our ritual every time we meet.
No,
we make out for a sec.
In fact, it's been my staple to have a 6-foot bubble of space around me constantly since I was a child. I fucking can't stand having people next to me.
Why are you denying the truth?
I'm serious though.
Okay,
I think, pre-pandemic, I wash my hands like an obsessive compulsive. I'm very germophobic. I don't like having things on my hand, I don't like my hands to be dirty at all. If you see me out doing hard, yard work, I will wash my hands every 20 minutes just to wash the dirt off them. Like, I clean my fingernails all the time. I don't like my hands being dirty. So I was a germaphobe before. I will continue that behavior until my death. I will always be like that. As far as the mask thing goes, I already don't care. Just to reiterate, I don't care, but I will always wear it in the businesses when it's posted that I need to, and when someone asks me to, I'll always have it. And for me, it's going to be something that I carry around with me in my backpack, like my wallet, and I make sure I have a red pen and a black pen, and I have my tablet and my phone. It's going to be an item that I'm going to keep with me for years.
Same here. I think I already have masks in my backpacks and my suitcases.
Exactly, dude. In your backup stuff.
And they'll probably be in there forever, especially if I'm being this world traveler.
Sure.
Going to a random airport, then be like, pandemic breakout, wear a mask.
Yeah, and or if I'm sick, I'll wear a mask.
Yeah, that's
when I go out in public. It's a consideration for me now, and I think it's completely reasonable. And I won't jeer at anyone who's wearing one 10 years from now.
Which keep in mind, in Asia, it's common to wear a mask if you're sick or something's going around.
Yeah.
Whereas here in America, it is a mind control device.
And that's what I think is really going to come to a head.
It's not only a mind control device, but it also is slowly getting us to accept Islam. Apparently.
Jesus. People come up with the looniest bullshit, dude. How could you live in the fucking reality that we live in and think that that's the case? Do you know how long it took for them to get you $1,400 checks? Dude, they can't mobilize that type of shit to work against you. It just doesn't exist.
On that note, I do think there will be another stimulus, including a check sometime this year. So? Oh yeah, because I think our economy's still gonna be fucked,
dude. I think the eviction moratoriums are already affecting me and my dealings with the real estate market. I've already been sent to places where it's the guy's getting kicked out and he's completely distraught, and I'm expected to just show up and take pictures of his house. So now when I go to there's a listing on my auto form thing that I get when I get my assignments, and if it says tenant occupied property, I will not go anymore unless I have either the owner of the building or the real estate agent there with me. Because, dude, I've gotten guns pulled on me and shit when I go to tenant occupied properties, because it's exactly as you think it is. They don't want to leave. They're getting kicked out because they can't afford and their life is falling apart.
Yeah,
they are very much on a hair trigger. And I'm just some guy.
I don't blame them.
Exactly, dude. I don't blame them either. I'm on their side, dude. Fuck these people.
They need to save those bullets for their fucking landlords. Because sad to say, as much as I wish we could, we're not going to be standing them up against walls anytime soon.
No, but I don't agree with that either. Everything's so complex, dude. That's what.
Oh, come on, dude.
I'm no friend to landlords, but I am a friend to landlords. You know what I'm saying? I know people who are landlords, and they're my friends.
Let's meet in the middle. Let's do the Dead Kennedy solution and just lynch them.
Jesus.
You see, we can come to a compromise.
Yeah, a comedic compromise here. Yeah, no, but when you ask me the direct question, when do you think we'll be back to normal this year? I don't think it's going to be this year.
All right, and I'm willing to believe that too.
My statement of what is normal though may be different than what someone else's standard might be.
True. I guess I could go into my normal.
Okay.
Is that I'm hoping for fall, because that was the original prediction, and it's far off enough that it seems legit.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is that honestly, I like go concerts, I like bar hopping, I like night clubbing, and I hadn't done any of that because pandemic. And, And I don't know. I honestly don't know how well I'm gonna adjust back to doing that, to not wearing a mask in crowded spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just gonna have to wait till it actually happens. But
for me, it's if it's people I know and I trust.
I
don't care.
I can see
strangers.
it. I can see it being a little bit. I can see my heart thumping. The first time I go into a Chicago nightclub.
Sure, dude. Yeah.
I can see that because I'll part of my mind be like, oh man, sure good to be back. And the other part be like, COVID. Dude, even if I am going to be vaccinated.
Yeah, this is a completely unrelated thing, but it's similar with the bars and restaurants and crowded spaces. Is I never thought things were going to be the same after the smoking ban.
Oh, really?
I thought there's no way that people can have a fun time in a bar without there being a cloud of smoke. There's no way you can go to the dance club without there being a little room where you can go have quiet conversations with people over a cigarette. Bar culture can't exist without that. And I mean, obviously, it was completely unaffected, and in many cases it's way better.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, good old Fourth Coast was really
that place
changed.
was ruined.
Really? Yeah. Well, it wasn't ruined, but it really changed.
In my opinion, it was ruined.
It's been ruined now, but that's because of the greedy owners.
Exactly. But no, I mean, for me, I'm really nostalgic for a smoke-filled bar with, a sticky floor and everybody's spitting all over the place.
I get
a bunch of crust punks. I'm nostalgic for that. That was a huge part of my teenage years, was going to those places and coming home, with sticky shoes and smelling like a pack of cigarettes. And I'm nostalgic for that feeling, but it's a feeling that will never come back. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being something that existed and will never exist again. It's okay with me.
Or is this one of those nostalgic things that you're cool with until it's over, you have to deal with it after?
Yeah, that's another thing, man.
Because I've had that happen a lot with me, too. I'm like, oh, this is great. Then afterwards, fuck.
Right. Well, smoking's fucking bad. It's just bad.
Well, granted, you're a smoker and I'm not, so very different.
Well, I haven't smoked real analog cigarettes for a couple of years, but I'm still hopelessly addicted to nicotine. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, you're working on that popcorn lung pretty well.
Always. And I mean, that's a personality flaw for that's a weak point for me, dude. I don't agree with that I should smoke. I think it's wrong. I don't want to be a slave to nicotine at all, but that sort of lends a person a perspective to sort of understand the struggle with addiction and everything like that too. And so I mean, that's a completely different point from the bars being smoky.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think kind of like when COVID first started, how paranoid and nervous I was. I think it'll be like that again, but then I'll calm my shit and I guess go on with my life.
Well, you could drive an hour south of here and COVID doesn't exist.
Oh, really?
In Indiana.
Oh, really? Indiana? I mean, if you really think about it, Indiana's a very magical place. A lot of things don't happen that happen in Michigan.
But I mean, that's
kind of makes you wonder.
That's another thing, though. I don't see news items about how every other person in Indiana is dying. But you can go to a business and not wear a mask in the state of Indiana.
Well, that again, probably because...
At least to my knowledge.
There probably are numbers, but just as they don't care to enforce it, they don't care to report it.
Okay, that's actually really valid, man. I hadn't considered
Or they
that.
find another reason, he had COVID, but he also had a bad heart, so that's why he had this heart attack.
I'm sure there's a lot of that. There's a lot of misrepresentation, and I'm not saying that let everybody go is a solution. I don't think it is.
I mean, this is the state where our former Vice President Mike Pence governed over, and one of his most famous things there is that he let an AIDS outbreak just go hog wild in Indiana because his whacked out Christian beliefs thought it was cool. And
I mean, dude, in terms of the state level government here, I think Whitmer did I think she made the correct decisions. That Caldoon, the Surgeon General, or the lady that was on TV with her really early on with all the shutdowns, man, did I really enjoy watching those segments of those press releases, because it was just like straight facts from this lady. Like, here's what we know. Like, this is what I read in these peer-reviewed journals today. Like, it was like, wow, this is refreshing. Like, listen to these like scientific facts being presented without a filter to me right now. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I agree for the most part with Wimmer's actions.
Yeah,
there's some stuff
for the most part. Yeah,
I disagreed with a lot of stuff too, but it wasn't enough to like me just go crazy anti-mask.
Well, a year ago we didn't know.
Yeah,
we didn't know.
Well, it's not even like, we know more stuff now. It's just some general stuff where I'm like, wait, really? Like, I think one of the things I first noticed was like they shut down some bathrooms in like state parks and that, but put porta potties in there instead.
Right?
It's like, okay, that's dumb.
That's that kind of, man. I wish you didn't hate Infinite Jest so much, because this is exactly the type of situation that would arise in that.
How dare you bring that up?
Because I listened to it twice in the fucking pandemic, and I fucking love it.
Okay, that is legend. But if you really want to challenge yourself, go listen to Finnegan's Wake.
It's the farce of life, because like, you want to be a rational person and you want to be self-preserving. So you don't want to die of coronavirus, and you don't want to give it to the people that you love. But you also don't want to have your life impacted unless it's absolutely direly necessary. And I think that we're still sort of figuring out where that balance goes. Like, how do we buttress our safety with our ability to preserve a semblance of our human life?
Yeah, don't get it twisted, folks. I do not like Whitmer, particularly because, but not because of COVID, but because of her response to the BLM uprisings, which, like every other governor and mayor, was sending the National Guard and police to fuck shit up.
Yep.
Hell, even
she tried to ban vaping too. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, there's that.
I called her office. I left her a voicemail.
I'm sure she got.
Exactly. It was not her, but some staffer had to listen to me, bitch.
Yeah. Well, also what I found most egregious was she actually sent over Michigan National Guard to Wisconsin and Kenosha, where that Rittenhouse piece of shit killed those people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he literally said like, hey, Wisconsin, you need help oppressing your populace? Here, have some of our National Guard to help you.
Have you been following the legal proceedings from the Capitol rioters or from that cop?
Yeah, jeez.
Craziness, dude. It's so great. No one's watching them. And these people are all just getting loud, getting away with it.
Dude, fuck MLive, because MLive twice have like given a platform to like two locals that were there, just so they can like brag about what they've done.
Christ.
And the whole thing was like, I am not a rioter, I am a patriot. Just because I try to go in there and kill some people.
20 years from now, I will still think anyone who participated in that is a fucking criminal.
Oh yeah,
I have been down there. I've been swayed by groupthink in the Capitol, not in the Capitol, like next to the Capitol, like in a giant mass of people watching George Bush leave, and we didn't fucking riot. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one stormed the Capitol when Al Gore got hoed out.
Yeah, funny too, because Barack Obama's new memoir, which kind of seems like just to serve to make him look worse with every line. Apparently, when he was riding with Bush to, be inaugurated, he saw protesters against Bush, and he was angry at them. He's like, no president leaving should be protested against. Like, dude, George W.
He's a fucking
Bush,
war criminal.
one of the greatest war criminals of all time.
Yeah, dude.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah, dude, the figurehead of the evil empire.
Yeah, thanks.
20 years ago.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, dude, fucking.
Well, and the most recent thing I think came out of there was like he thought Pete Buttigieg would win because, according to him, he's small and gay. That's why he would win the presidency.
He's small and gay.
Yeah,
that's
so. In the podcast world, we're like, I didn't know Barack Obama was a fan of Cumtown.
Dude.
Which is a hot take that show would give.
What a fucking farce. But, reality is a farce, dude.
Yeah. Actually, you want to know a farce? I got a nice story from the magical land of Florida that may interest you.
Florida man, what's he up to?
Actually, a lot of Florida people, plural.
All right.
And gender neutral.
All right.
Yeah, because not only was it St. Patty's Day recently, and the 1-year anniversary of this pandemic, do your own research. But it's also spring break. And Miami Herald, and I screenshotted this because like a lot of publications, I think they do the whole paywall shit. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be like, let's read this story and then can't access it. Miami Herald. Party's over. Miami Beach closing causeways, imposing spring break South Beach curfew. Mm-hmm. You're going to love this story and the specific parts that I got out. Here we go. Let me drink the Smart Water, our constant Smart Water, brought to you by Drake's Party Store.
Yeah. See, I don't want to wear a mask, but you won't see me fucking buttoned right up next to somebody on the beach with another 20,000 people, dude. Like, that's the behavior that's dumb.
You know what? You know who enforces the mask mandate? Drake's Party Store. They will sponsor me one day. Okay, here we go. Frustrated and concerned by overwhelming spring break crowds that have overrun the city's entertainment district, the city of Miami Beach on Saturday tried to shut down the party by imposing an 8 p.m. curfew in South Beach and closing the causeways into the city to visiting traffic. The sudden orders, which some business owners worry would cripple venues banking on the crush of tourists to help them bounce back from the pandemic, constituted the most far-reaching restrictions on spring break partying that Miami Beach City Hall has imposed in recent memory. These crowds are in the thousands, the city manager said. We're at capacity. And I can't pronounce their name properly. I don't want to disrespect them by trying to do it. It's a name that's not Smith or Adam, so I am completely incapable of reading it because I am Caucasian. First night of curfew enforcement. Immediately after curfew kicked off Saturday, South Beach crowds weren't much affected. Snapchat videos showed large groups of people still amassed. CBS 4 reported tweeted videos of crowds slowly thinning out about 30 minutes after the curfew. But still large groups of people were standing or walking around. Pedestrians on Twitter said Miami Beach police SWAT teams were blocking roads and moving to disperse the crowd. Pepper balls were heard being shot and a brief stampede started. And I have to say this is in the tradition of it's good to riot in America, which is basically when like you're having a party, whether spring break or whether your football team loses or wins. Mm-hmm. Looking at you, Michigan State, because there's always a fucking
Florida.
Yeah, because there's seriously every time I hear of like a game at MSU, there's always a riot afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Whether they win, whether they lose, doesn't matter.
Or at least there's like one couch on fire in the middle of the street in East Lansing. And some guy who tweeted, Daniel Ufelder of Daniel Ufelder Law, this fucking dweeb that kind of looks like Alan Combs if he was still alive and not Jewish, tweeted, the Miami Beach curfew isn't going so well. Then a video of everyone getting shot up with pepper balls.
Jesus Christ, man.
I'm sure it's a multiracial crowd, but this is probably the only time that you'll hear like police just, fucking up white people like they would BLM protesters.
I really struggle with all this shit, dude, because it's like you can't rely on people to follow rules, but it's wrong to just fucking shoot them.
Yeah,
for something so stupid. I I don't know how I feel. I don't. I'm so conflicted, man. Because on the same page, I think that they should be able to enforce rules. Like, I think if there is a mask mandate, then it should be enforced, right? But when the enforcing involves driving fucking tanks into the beach to fucking get kids off the fucking beach because all they want to do is listen to Drake songs and fucking overconsume shitty alcohol, like, what the fuck, dude? What kind of society do we live in? Like, the problems are so multifaceted that there isn't even an offending party and an offended party. 'Cause, like, the cops know they can't just, like, roll up and be like, bad boys, go home. That ain't gonna work. Yeah, well, naughty kids. How dare you? How dare you drink alcohol? Like, how dare you come to this city and do what you want? Like, they don't want to do that. And people are just so willing to be violent now after whatever happened in our world.
I will have to kind of disagree with you on the police don't want to do it thing, because
okay, I'll give you that.
I do think there are a lot that are bloodthirsty or want savages. To impose their authority. Yeah. And of course,
but that's also a generalizing statement. So you're right.
Totally.
Those elements exist. But, like, man, I know cops that aren't shitbags. But they might even just agree or just, like, politely laugh when the shitbags are being shitbags, and that's a problem too. So, man, I don't know. There's no fucking solution for this.
Don't worry, Mr. Elmblad. I wouldn't pepper spray you.
Right? But they sure would.
You know? Zach, you might want to get in line. We're going to shoot up these peaceful protesters.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm disgusted by a lot of things, but I don't have, like, we don't really have a way to change it. You know, but then, like, you don't want to. Didn't we have this conversation a couple of years ago about being centrist?
Numerous times. And I think I've convinced you to use the word moderate.
Centrist
is not a good one.
I understand that now.
Centrist is along the lines of, like, well, okay, genocide's bad. This is bad, but that's bad too. So how about just a little genocide?
But that's also in the American context, because even the Democratic Party is right-wing in the United States.
Oh, yeah. I'm totally using everything in American context.
Yeah.
Everything is so vastly different in Europe to the point where they're like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah, dude, everybody's our global village is looking at the United States right now like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah. Even Canada looks at us fucking weird.
Can you remember a time in your life where we spent an entire year not being able to go to the country of Canada? We live across a lake from it. Can't go across that lake.
Well, we tried. I mean, Trump tried to get them to open early, saying something like,
they're not having
you know, I think something like, you know, Canada should open because, you know, we want to make Canada great again, too. You know, Trudeau stop being a little bitch. Trudeau's like, nope.
My cousin Trudeau.
Yeah, your cousin.
Yeah, my cousin. Cuzzy. Yeah.
You should try to get Canadian citizenship through him.
I don't know if I want Canadian citizenship.
Dude, I would jump at Canadian citizenship.
Maybe. I mean, the thing about Canadian citizenship is that is also citizenship in the, what do they call it? The protectorates of the UK, like the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Like, you can sort of immigrate very easily to Australia and like a couple other places having that. So it's good. It's good citizenship to have. In fact, these days it's probably better than United States citizenship. But
honestly, what could be worse than American citizenship? Like, really?
Well, a lot. But I mean, I still have civic pride, man. I'm still proud to be an American. I like where I came from. I like our story. I'm still in the Kool-Aid there. But, like, I guess my exploration of alternate citizenship is I'd like to have a secondary citizenship in Panama. Because it's a economic thing. It's an economic thing. It's a like, I want to make sure my assets are protected in case the United States decides that they're gonna go full fascist and just start fucking taking shit. Like, I don't know. I'd like to have an escape route if I need one. I guess is sort of my rationale.
I mean, like, you read the Panama Papers and thought, that seems like a good idea.
No, I have seriously been looking into what it takes to gain Panamanian citizenship. I think earlier in the podcast you asked me where the first country I want to go to when it opens up. It's Panama. I want to go to Panama.
Behind the Bastards did a great two-parter about the creation of the Panama Canal. Yeah, we fucked that country. We fucked Panama up pretty good.
We did.
Wow.
I've been to Panama already before.
I mean, I was listening. I'm like, wow. I shouldn't be surprised, but I still am. I guess that means I still have, I don't know, what's the thing? Humanity left in me. Okay, let's continue this really funny story out of Florida.
All right, yes. Florida.
Land of hilarity, Florida.
Close to Panama.
Closer than Michigan. And unfortunately, we're closer to Indiana.
Yeah, we're very close to Indiana.
Fucking A. Why has God done this to us?
It's only like 30 miles away.
Anyway, build a wall around Indiana.
Keep Pence out of Michigan.
Okay.
Pence fence.
Okay, they just shot pepper balls at stampeding people. Even as police were trying to thin the crowd, the party didn't stop. One video showed a man throwing money into the throngs of people.
I love being alive.
Even as police were trying... Oh, wait, I just read that. There's a video of it. In other acts of defiance, some people twerked on cars as crowds moved.
You almost got a spit take there. I was not expecting that.
Nice.
Twerking on cars.
Yep.
I love the human race.
Including a police car.
Perfect.
And others did tire burnouts as they tried to drive out of the area, social media videos show. So, all right. Last night, if you saw the photos of Ocean Drive, it was quite simply overwhelming, the guy said. It looked like a rock concert. You couldn't see pavement and you couldn't see grass. So we feel that this is necessary, not only protect our residents, but our visitors, including our spring breakers, who we want to keep safe. Which, yeah, they should be doing this, but how shitty is that? You go on spring break, and they impose a curfew and just shoot the shit out of you.
But also, man, and here's my argument, I guess, is what's the point? None of these kids are going to be, well, I can't say none, because that's a blanket statement, but an overwhelming majority of these kids are not going to be vulnerable populations. Now, again, I understand they could then spread it to a vulnerable population. I get it. But what I'm thinking is, these kids are probably all living in dorms and shit. Like, they're going to go home and be essentially quarantined anyway because their classes are probably still remote and they're just stuck, you know? They're not going home to spread it to their parents. Like, and in many cases, if it's an 18-year-old kid in university right now, their parents are probably not 55 or older. So even their parents aren't susceptible populations. So, like, when we talk about opening the country back up, and when I say it's going to be in fits and starts, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, you can see the kids just want to go have spring break because they're in college, and they want to have the spring break that all of the college kids for the last 100 years have had, which is go down to Florida, get trashed, come back with a tattoo and or a venereal disease. Like, that's been a rite of passage for American, like, middle-class teenagers since American middle-class teenagers could go to university. They're just trying to live reality.
Yeah.
They're not going there to be protesters. Why are the cops shooting them with rubber bullets? They're just trying to go and have fun, you know?
Yeah, I guess I'll wait until the end of the story to make my big grand proclamation, because that's what I do on this podcast. While you sit there and silently agree. But, no, but I really do think that's probably what's going to happen with COVID, especially now that we're getting vaccinated and the numbers are going down, is that there's still going to be restrictions in place, and those who don't want to do it either because they want to have fun or they're nut jobs that were against it from the get-go are going to feel
and
more
emboldened. That's the bad part.
More emboldened to do stuff like that.
Right, but now shouldn't we almost be supporting the front edge leaders on that? Like the people who want to return back to reality. Now there's been sort of a gray area of time where you don't want to support that idea. You don't want people to be rushing to just go back to normal. But I think that as we try to fade back into normal, you have to sort of
a generalized population. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But the guy with the MAGA hat, and fuck him.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, that guy's are going to be the loudest, which sucks.
You're right, man. You're right.
I mean,
and that's a problem.
I mean, have you been hearing about what's been going on in Holland, Michigan this week?
Oh yeah, didn't someone had like not shut down this entire time?
This woman who runs a pizza shop, now she's in jail, I guess. Dude, just throngs of these fucking chuds just converged upon her place, and I'm pretty sure she accepts it. But jeez, that's what sucks about it is that these assholes just converge then. Since they're the loudest and the most arrogant shit, they're going to become the face of it, and it's going to be hard for me to support it.
Yeah.
Because,
I want to be a sensible person. I don't want to put anyone at undue risk because of my behavior. But me, myself, I'm always willing to be in the, 40 to 50% danger zone. Like, that's a thing for me. I don't mind that, how my, danger sensing gradient works is sort of not based on microbiology because, even just in the understanding that fucking viruses just are everywhere is already scary enough. And the fact that we have one targeted one that we had to be concerned about for a while is sensible and rational. But I think, man, you're going to see I think these news stories 2 years from now are going to be like, some fucking grandma in Sheboygan still refuses to let her grandkids come over without masks on. Like, what is this zany bitch up to?
And likewise, you'll have of grandma in Sheboygan who punched a cop who told her she had to wear a mask inside a store.
Right, or they have a kid with COVID play with other kids to spread it.
And then the grandma got in her car and they had to give chase to her. Mm-hmm. Which is actually somewhat a true story that happened in Grand Haven, I guess, last year. They told this fucking boomer to put on her mask. She punched the cop and then they had to give chase to her. There's a local comedian I'm friends with on Facebook. Would like to have him on sometime. He actually talked about how recently he does a job at this place where he's bouncer or some shit. Mm-hmm. He actually had to take a step back because he told dude, "Oh, you have to wear your mask to the table," and the guy was so mad that he knew he was about to get sucker punched by him. So yeah, I still think it's gonna happen. A lot of people are saying I got vaccinated,
yeah,
and then the violence will keep on coming.
Yep, and I have a medical condition.
Yeah. I love that excuse because they have these awful medical conditions, yet they're still alive.
Yeah, I know, dude.
It's how are you not dead?
Dude, just wear the fucking face cloth for Christ's sake.
And more so, if this hasn't killed you, what makes you think you'll survive COVID?
Yeah, it's an invisible enemy.
So stupid.
You're right, there's a lot of stupid. The never-ending variety of ways in which the human race can embarrass itself continues to amaze me in a kaleidoscopic fashion. Every day I go out and I'm just what the fuck is going on in this goddamn world?
It's like that meme of that one actor who plays Kylo Ren in the Star Wars film. Mm-hmm. It's from another project where he's yelling at a woman.
Yeah.
He's every day I wake up. Then he punches a wall and cries. Every day I wake up in America. Alright, and that's the story. There's some other stuff about how, like, there's a shooting at another thing, and cops are kind of, like, putting that on the protesters, like, well, this shooting happened before. We don't want that to happen here, which I guess...
I don't want people to get shot either. With rubber bullets, with real bullets. Like, I like guns. I don't shoot people with them. I don't...
Oh, do you?
I do not. I do not
well,
shoot
that's
people
another
with the guns
difference.
I own.
That's another difference between us. I shoot people all the time with my firearms.
I shoot people with my camera.
Well, I do too, but my camera is actually a gun.
My camera shoots out a projectile. When you
My camera is a gun. Say cheese.
Oh, God. Florida.
All right. One last thing I would like to talk to you about, because let me drink the smart water.
Where'd you buy that smart water?
Oh, I don't know. But what is this place that I pretend is endorsing this podcast?
I'm going to have some smart water, too.
It'll actually make you smart, unlike the shit that Joe Rogan used to say that.
Mushroom pills?
No, it's something else. I forget the brands. I don't think he does it anymore since he signed to Spotify.
On it.
On it, yeah, on it.
The Alpha Brain, the mushroom pills. It's cordyceps mushrooms. Those are the mushrooms that, like, infiltrate ants and, like, make them kill themselves so that the virus, the mushroom...
Why are we eating it, then?
It's a different kind of, like, it's
it,
like a genus of...
Is this, like,
mushroom.
something where, like, it's bad for animals, but it's good... But it's not... It's either good for us, or it's not good, but it just, like, gets us high, but doesn't kill us.
No, I think it's, like... It'd be like saying a bird.
Oh.
Like... A cordyceps mushroom could be one of 10,000 different types of mushrooms. I think is more.
I was thinking more like. I was thinking more like toads. Like, if they eat it, if certain toads are eaten, it'll be the person. The predator eating it will be killed due to venom. But if we lick it, then we just get high.
Yeah, that's like one type of very specific Sonoran desert toad that's difficult to find. So like that.
But you found it.
No, I never licked a toad.
God damn it.
But I did watch. I think Hamilton Morris went and found the guy that made the pamphlet that was distributed in the desert Southwest about toad licking in the Sonoran Desert, and then like. I mean, it's a thing that's actually real. Yeah. There's like one type of toad where if it like is agitated, it will excrete a venom that will kill a Gila monster or whatever attacks it.
Yeah.
But like us, it's like DMT or something like.
The stone ape theory says that our ape ancestors ate a bunch of shrooms and then became super intelligent. And now we have to sit inside on Facebook all day while a pandemic rages.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, monk. Go return the monk. But stoned toad theory, where we licked and shoved toads up our asses.
Very sensitive place.
And now we go on Reddit for our tips on shit that we need to do. Throwback to an earlier conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, last thing I want to talk to you about. Tell me, Zach, Elmblad, are you enjoying the weather in Michigan this month?
Yeah, it's been all right.
I mean, it's March, and
it is.
Pretty much all the snow's gone, all the ice is gone. It's going to be in the 50s this week and 60s next week.
Mm-hmm.
May I remind you that it's March?
Yeah.
Perfectly normal weather for the Midwest.
Well, it is, though. Like, it's always this up and down thing. Like, we always get, people say, like, false spring and, like, second winter and shit like that. So I think people just associate the, like, old wives' tale of, like, March coming in like a lion and out like a lamb as, like, the way that weather patterns work. But, like, it's a dynamic system, and like it's affected by a lot of different things. So like, I mean, I think it's unusually warm, and that probably has something to do with climate change.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's what you're.
I'm about to say you're thinking a more rational sense.
But I am taking a more rational sense. I think we'll probably get another snowstorm before Easter. Easter's next weekend.
Yeah, I'm thinking
in April.
Thinking climate apocalypse.
Well, I mean, it's I'm a February baby, so I'm like hypersensitive to this time of year.
No, correct that. You are a February man.
A February sun.
No, you are a February man.
February. And there's an R in there.
You know, if you've seen the back of some guy's T-shirt, it'll say that he was a February man and he doesn't put up with shit, and you can't date his daughter.
I literally have no fucking idea what if you're making a reference, it's completely escaped on me. I don't know.
Okay, this is meme explanation with Garret Schuelke.
All right, perfect, good, because I don't get it.
For real, have you ever seen these weird T-shirts that they sell boomers, where it's just a bunch of text on the back?
I'm like.
Okay.
It's great to be a Mackenzie.
Okay, well, basically, there's this, these are real things, but people meme them. It's just a shirt that has a bunch of shit that you supposedly are, and it's all about you being a badass. And and the big thing is they like to ascribe the month of your birth to these traits of yours, I was born December and I hate veggies or something.
Oh, sort of like Zodiac, but just on people's birthdays, or
but it's just these dumb things that they try to attribute to you to make you a badass. And the popular one is December Man. And here
I was completely unaware of this.
But you can really apply it to anything, like
astrology.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lot of boomer stuff that they hate, you can't date my daughter, or I went to war and I didn't cry like you snowflakes.
Wow.
Yeah, well, here we go. At Spreadshirt.com, you can get this December Man shirt for $18.99 plus shipping. Here, let me just read it off. December guy, one of a kind, great kisser, loves being in long relationships, reliable, he speaks fluent sarcasm, cool, intelligent, in the best and nothing less of something way I can't read that part. Nice, sexy, sassy, amazing in bed, proud, overthinking, stubborn. Doesn't care about your money, card, or clothes. Just wants your love. Loyal and dedication. Not a fighter will knock your lights out. He may seem sweet, but has a dark side that... he has a dark side that you don't think he has. We have a lot of love to give. Only it takes a little something, I don't know. You've never seen these shirts in public?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I made that February.
Okay, no, that was completely escaped on me. But no, what I mean by saying that is that I sort of associate my birthday with the weather in late February, right? Because it's my birthday, it's my day, I pay attention to it. But very, very often on my birthday, which is the last week of February, it is either just has snowed or the most previous big snow has melted. And then we have these 2 or 3 weeks of 60-degree days and all the snow melts, and there's the college kids are running around in shorts, and you can drive down on campus and everbody's out playing beer pong in their front yards. And then you get slapped again with snow, and everyone's oh,
you know what? Before we continue this actual serious conversation, I kind of want to have. I did look up February Man T-shirt.
Oh no!
And here we go. You're gonna love this one. And
all right.
Actually, the last example I gave you was kind of wholesome in a way. Mm-hmm. This one is actually more accurate to what I was talking about. Okay. It also has a graphic, and I'll just read it here. And of course, it's by a guy who Kind of looks like a Family Dollar version of Henry Rollins. And here's what it says. I'm a grumpy old man. I was born in February. I'm too old to fight, too slow to run. I'll just shoot you and be done with it. And it shows like a Grim Reaper with a rifle. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about.
Marketing people are so fucking weird. Someone had to fucking spend like fucking 45 minutes to an hour in Adobe in some type of graphic design software to fucking make that t-shirt. Some human being, in order to like for profit motive, fucking made that up, dude. That's the person that we need to fucking send down to Florida to get fucking shot with rubber bullets, okay? Some fucking dingus fucking decided that that's the t-shirt he wants. So there's a t-shirt business that fucking designed that, dude. God damn it. Here we are struggling to fucking write these books that we're really proud of and shit. And these fucking assholes can design some February man t-shirt. God damn. Why don't we just fucking quit? So frustrating. I hope that guy has a nice house.
Oh, God. Speaking of Rollins, he did make a shirt joke about that. There we go.
Have you noticed
I'll just play it.
Yeah, careful, don't get demonetized.
Walmart kind of comes out of Loch Ness.
Fuck it, I'll just go to Walmart one where you just... Here we go.
The shirt is fascinating to me. It's like NASCAR on burning crosses. Dale Earnhardt's face on the front. American hero. He drove a car till he died. And they like the military one with Black Hawk helicopters and tanks. And soldier, a young guy with spray all over him, sweat and grease paint. And it says, good to go. Lightning bolt. And on the back it says, Elite American Strike Force Team. Where's these shirts? There are people in America who get their food.
Alright, yeah.
Everything from the truck stop, dude.
Yeah, so, yeah, those shirts are in that range.
Yes, oh, you are right.
I love that bit.
My God, dude.
Who the fuck wears this shirt?
That's so right, dude. You go to a TA in fucking Missouri, and you're like, dude, is that Donald Trump riding a nuclear bomb with a lasso and no pants on? What?
Yeah, they totally rip off that Kubrick scene from Dr. Strangelove.
Especially if you know the logistics of this, like, if those shirts are in every truck stop, there's like 300 TAs on the U.S. interstates. Like, you know how many thousands of those T-shirts were made in order to stock them at these fucking stores, dude? You know how like when you used to see like commercials, late night TV commercials for like aid to children in Haiti or something, and they're all wearing
they play that song.
Yeah, dude. They're all wearing like Super Bowl 1998 shirts, but the the winner of the game is actually you know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly this. Like, what happens to all those shirts when they sit on the shelf in the TA center for fucking 2 years and like one or two people buy them? It's got to go somewhere. Like,
yeah, they should wear actual good T-shirts like you're wearing right now.
Oh yeah, dude, the
Legends of the Hidden Temple. That fucking awesome show.
Man.
Know what? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I giving you heartburn?
No. The fact that I haven't eaten and all I've done is drink espresso all day, and I woke up at 7 a.m. That's what gave me heartburn.
Very nice. Okay, let's get on to the last real final topic I'm interested in talking to you about.
Okay.
Because the weather's been nice here. All the snow's gone. Totally not because of climate change. If you think that, you're gay and dumb. But yeah, last month I believe it was, you went winter camping.
Yeah, my hot tent.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that because I think we mentioned it before, but I'm very interested on how winter camping works, at least for you. Okay, winter camping, obviously you go out in the woods during the winter and you camp.
Mm-hmm.
But how does it differentiate from, other than that factoid, obvious factoid, how does it differentiate from regular camping, like, say, during the summer or the fall?
There's a lot more work involved. A lot more work. In summer, you really just need to find water. Like, that's the thing that you really, 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 really need. You don't need to make a fire so that you can stay warm. You can just sleep on the ground. You don't need shelter as much.
You can kind of just plop down anywhere.
Yeah, and the clothing you wear isn't as important because you can always just take it off if you're too hot. But with winter camping, you kind of have to plan a lot more. You have to have a lot more, like, survival skills in general. And, you know, the equipment is I mean, you can survive in the winter. There's things you can do. You can be fine. But, like, to do it sort of safely and as, like, a pleasure experience, it's sort of expensive to have stuff to do.
Now, where you went camping is someplace you've camped out numerous times.
Well, that's an interesting story about that specific winter camping trip, because we didn't actually end up camping where we intended on camping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened?
So, my intention was to camp at Ludington State Park. Okay. So, Ludington State Park, if you're not familiar, is on the west coast of Michigan. It's on the lakeshore. It's actually like a strip of land that's between Lake Michigan, the big inland sea, the Great Lake, and like a Michigan inland, like, small fishing lake. And so there's a narrow strip of land, and on that is a state campground. So I got 2 nights at this state campground. Like, you reserve it online, and you get a little ticket thing that you put in your windshield to say, hey, I'm taking this spot. And so well, first of all, it was a fucking blizzard out. So the plow trucks hadn't iced yet. So the 84th Street bridge, I actually went sideways and got in crashed into the ditch on the way. And so my Jeep was fine. And so I got towed out of the ditch and then just kept driving to Ludington instead of just going home.
Oh, so you just kind of, like, gently slid into it.
Yeah, I went sideways on some black ice and then oversteered, went to the left side of the road, and then overcorrected, went to the right side of the road, and then hit some slush and got sucked into the ditch.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, it was steep enough where I couldn't, like, 4-wheel drive myself out because the snowdrift was, like,
it wasn't like a big epic rollover crash.
No, the Jeep was fine. Well, I was fine. Everything was fine. So I got that handled, got extracted, paid for that, continued on. So there was, like, 25 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour wind gusts, which is more than I would usually be comfortable camping in, but kind of comes with the territory of wanting to camp in a snowstorm. Wind's a factor. So, fuck it. I'll still try. So, I pull up to the site, keep the Jeep running, keep my headlights at where I'm going to set up the tent. I get my tent set up. It's taking forever. Everything's cold. Banging the tent stakes into the ground. The ground's frozen. They're bending because they're aluminum. It's a big fucking ordeal. Finally, I get this tent set up. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit in the car and warm up for a minute. And then it's a hot tent, so there's a stove. I will assemble the stove, put it in the tent, get a fire started, and start to warm up. Well, I'm just kind of passively looking out the window, and I see the tent blow up 3 or 4 feet in the air and then slam down on the ground. And I just went, well, fuck.
Oh, you're all alone here. You're not with anyone else.
I'm all alone.
For a second there, I thought you went with Kevin.
I went with Kevin. Kevin and I were supposed to be there for one night, and I decided, since he was only available for one night, I decided to go a day early and have a night by myself. Basically, I just wanted to chill in the tent,
some me time,
watch the fire, have some me time, burn some wood, just chill. And so it's finally 10 p.m. It's been dark for hours. I've been driving and pushing the car out of the ditch and everything else, and the fucking tent blows over, and I just went to hell with it. Because a couple of the stakes had snapped, and what had happened was, like, the tent doesn't have a floor, because if you have a hot tent, you don't want the area where the stove is sitting to have a floor because it'll melt because shit'll just fall out of the stove. So the tent has no floor, and the wind got up under the edge and lifted one of the stakes, like lifted the strap off the stake. So once the wind got up under the tent, it just literally blew it straight up, pulled all the stakes out of the ground. I was digging in the snow for the stakes and shit. So I went to a hotel and like dried out all my gear.
Urban camping.
Yeah, I literally just went down US 10 and went to the first hotel that was on the right that had any sign of activity. And so I got a room for the night, kind of communicating with Kevin like, hey, I'm bailing, like I'm willing to try it tomorrow, like let's give it another shot. Like if I can set this up during the day, maybe I'll have a better chance. I'll go down to Walmart, I'll get some better tent stakes, like let's try, you know. Well, it turns out that his girlfriend's family has a cabin not far from Ludington. 45-minute drive or whatever, a few miles. And so we decided to reconvene there. And we're going to camp in the backyard of this cabin. So that way, if someone's tent blows over in the middle of the night, we have a safe place to go to, you know. So
imagine if you were in that tent when it blew up.
Mm-hmm. I did imagine. It would have been very dangerous, especially with a raging fire inside a stove in it. So yeah, very serious thing. Yeah.
Well, you know, have you seen pictures of people who like use their cars to heat their tents?
Mm-hmm.
They just put it's like nice convenient way to
Well, I mean, you know, we've been camping without hot tents before. You know, you just get a really thick sleeping bag.
Yeah, folks, that's a joke. Do not do that. Do not like hook up your tent to your car to get heat.
No,
because that was carbon monoxide.
Yeah, you'll die doing that. But I mean, and carbon monoxide poisoning is a thing in hot tents too, with stoves. So you have to make sure you ventilate properly so that you get airflow, and that's kind of part of the reason why there's no floor and why the wind can get up under it, right? Is because it needs to be that way so you don't die. So everything's a balance, you know. And what we ended up doing is kind of, you know, there was maybe 1.5 feet of snow in the drift, so we dug straight down, got to ground. And then set up the tents. I did end up going to Walmart and getting some beefier tent stakes, and then we drove them in pretty well, and they worked. Obviously, I'm still alive, so
good to know.
Yeah, they worked just fine.
That's good.
And I probably had it set up by like maybe 3 p.m, so we still had about 2.5 hours before dark, and I mean, I slept all night out there. I was fine, but I don't think the interior temperature of the tent, even with the stove blasting in there, I don't think it ever got above 50, 55 degrees. Like, it's only slightly above freezing, even when you're, you know, with a raging fire. So, like, I'm sitting right next to this little stove, and it's like my back is still cold, but my front is like 100 degrees, so it's difficult.
You're sweating.
Yeah. Temperature regulation is really difficult in those type of situations. And so then the next morning we just like got up and went into the cabin, started a fire in there, made breakfast, and then fucking Kevin got his vehicle stuck in the snowdrift. So we spent like 2 hours digging his RAV4 out of the fucking ditch, just like we had to get, like how I had to dig my car out of the ditch. So then we went and bought some beef jerky and went home. So that's what winter camping was like for me last month. Yeah.
All right, but in general, winter camping is more dangerous than regular camping.
Definitely more dangerous. Definitely a lot more considerations. A lot more skill involved.
Yeah, my big thing is like, have you ever been afraid of falling asleep and dying in your sleep?
You wake up. You don't just freeze to death. You wake up like, I'm fucking cold. I need to do something about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then like Kevin and I like to take measured risks. So like there was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we went out on the coldest night of the year just to see if we could not die.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that is the type of thing that we like to do, you know? Well, it's going to be the coldest night of the year, like...
Try not to die.
Yeah, let's go camping. And,
I mean, if you really want to just test not dying, you could just
go
to Meyer and not wear a mask.
Everybody deserves a person in their life like Kevin and I are to each other. Like, since we were 7 years old... It's been like, everybody thinks this is a dumbass idea, but I think I can pull it off. You want to help? And he's just like, fuck yeah, I do. And when he calls me up and he's like, I got a really dangerous idea and no one will help me do it. I'm like, what time am I meeting you? Like, you know, that's how Kevin and I are for each other. And that's the camping thing. It's like, hey, no one on planet Earth wants to go camping in negative 30-degree weather with me. Would you? Fuck yeah, I will. Let's go, dude. So that's kind of the challenge. Like, we want to challenge ourselves.
Hey, Kevin, no one wants to stick forks in this electrical socket with me. You want to try it? Sure.
I'm pretty sure he did that when we were kids.
Oh, fuck.
Sounds like something he would do. I mean, he would have insulated it so it didn't electrocute him, but he wanted to see what happened, you know?
Well, cop out.
We had such a good time.
Normie shit.
Dude. Oh, God, we had such a great childhood.
Well, Kevin, come on the podcast.
We will.
We can talk about your numerous dangerous things. And
Kevin, dude, we were in Kentucky once, and, like, we're filming shit, and he's like, oh, check it out, a bridge. And it's like a rusted out railroad trestle bridge in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Classic.
And, like... On it is this big sign that just says, danger, do not cross. And I'm like, this is all on, like, in my archives somewhere. I, like, look and pan the camera across where it says, danger, do not cross. Lift up the camera, and there's Kevin on the other side of the bridge waving at me going, come on!
Tell me you at least once said, like, your name and then what you're going to do. Like, I'm Zach Elmblad, and this is... Camping in 30-degree weather.
Probably, dude.
Nice jackass nod.
Well, we had YouTube series forever that I had on public access called, it eventually became Everyday Explorers, but before that it was called Somewhere in Kalamazoo. This all exists on the internet still. You can definitely find it. It's there.
Elmblad Media Group YouTube page.
Yep. That might even be on my personal YouTube page, but either way, like...
Which one's that? I don't think I
Zach
followed.
Elmblad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff is they're on both channels, but whatever. I need to organize my whole life, dude, not just my digital footprint. Like, my website hasn't been updated in like 5 years. People keep looking at it. I keep getting people that are like, yeah, I looked at your website and I'm interested in blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, you looked at my website? Shit. I gotta do some work.
Granted, over this past month, you probably wish they didn't look at your website. Yeah, Mr. Elmblad, can you come tomorrow exactly at this time?
You know what's crazy is that both of those blow-ups that I did on Facebook have really interesting like the end of those stories. I ended up having to go shoot both of those houses, even after raising a stink about it. One of them was a guy, one of them was a chick. The dude just didn't know any better. He was
let's get into it. The very first one, let's just explain.
The guy emailed me at 7 p.m. and he wanted me to be at a house at 9 a.m. the next day, basically. And and just the background information is I'm usually professionally booked out about 7 to 10 days. So, like, for me to be able to show up tomorrow like a plumber or something is basically impossible unless I happen to just have time off that day because my time didn't get
filled. A lot of clients think that way?
They do, yeah. A lot of people do. It's very common. They think that I'm a team of many. They don't realize it's just me. You know?
Team Elmblad.
Well, it's Elmblad Media Group, you know, so that it is confusing to some people. because I do function as a group sometimes, but the group is more like my associates than it is my...
If you think about it, if you continued using the new scum, they would think that you're a new type of scum, and that they've discovered it.
Or they would just read it as the news cum, like everybody else did.
New scum.
Jesus Christ. Get your heads out of the gutter.
New cum? You mean like cum
The
too?
news cum.
Cum too.
the news is being jizzed at you. But then the second one was this chick was basically like, come to South Haven tomorrow. And I was like, no. And like...
Zach, I need you.
Exactly. Well, and it turned out this chick, like both of these people were doing that because they wanted me specifically, because they knew who I was and they wanted my work to represent their listings. So it was from a positive place that these people are coming from, but they're being completely disrespectful because they're not going through... There's proper channels to like request my services. Like there are many proper channels and they didn't use any of them. They just texted me and said, show up here. And I was just like...
Granted, I kind of do that too with message like, hey bro, you want to meet?
And that's what I mean, though. Like, I don't want to tell people that I can't be accessed that way, but they need to be respectful. So it's like, you didn't say, I need to meet you at 1 p.m. on Sunday, March, whatever the day is.
Yeah.
You said, hey, is there a chance that we could meet up in the next couple of weekends? I'm thinking
I
this
just
day
asked
or
like,
whatever.
hey, you could be available anytime tomorrow.
Sure. And if I wasn't available, you'd say, okay, well, what about Saturday or what about next weekend, or like we'll figure it out. Like it's a non-issue.
That's how I would do it professionally, but
Right.
once I send the message, I would start crying.
Aww.
Like, oh, he doesn't want to see me.
Well, that and anybody else I work with, that's the way it is too. My buddy Gino, like when you and I part ways today, I'm gonna finish up some work for him. And he's been waiting a couple days. You've been waiting a couple weeks for your stuff too. Like, I'm constantly behind, always. So like, if people don't know that I'm constantly behind and always scheduled out a week in advance, then they don't realize that it's not okay to just say, hey, be here tomorrow. But in their mind, I'm 6 or 7 people working out of this office, so I could just say, oh, hey, Jim, go take care of this. Or like, hey, can you take care of my edits while I go shoot this house for Mary Realtor?
You're just a one-man army.
Exactly. I'm a one-man army, and so that, if you want me in Grand Rapids at 3 p.m. on Monday, I can't be there because I'll be in Saugatuck at 3 p.m. on Monday. Like, for you to just say, hey, come to me at this time, it just doesn't work that way, because I might not even be, like, physically in the same city that you need me in. And, like, a lot of people don't realize that either. Like, the Grand Rapids agents don't realize I'm working for Battle Creek agents. The Battle Creek agents don't realize I'm working for South Haven agents. South Haven agents don't realize I'm working down at the state line. So it's like, well, what do you mean you can't be in Constantine, Saugatuck, and Cedar Springs all in one day? It's like, well, that's like 6 hours of driving one way to touch on all those points. So, like, basically you're asking me, if I do these 3 jobs, I need to work 20 to 26 hours in order to complete these 3 tasks. I can't do that, And people they're like, what the fuck do you mean you can't do? Like, your job is to show up and all you're doing is taking pictures. Well, it's like, that's not all I'm doing. I got to drive to you. Then I have to edit the photos. I have to, render them and put them in a folder and present them to you. They need to be labeled.
I admit I have done that on occasion. I try not to do it. Like, hey, buddy, can you just do that and this? I'm sure it won't be a problem.
But that's a great point to bring up, though, because at its simplest face, my job is to show up and take pictures, and it is that simple. But in order to do that efficiently and for 200 or 300 clients, it requires a lot of organization and a lot of planning. And I don't think that people realize how much planning and organization goes into anything if they're not the ones doing it. And so I don't know what kind of planning and organization goes into the work that other people do. and I don't pretend that I do understand that. So when I ask someone to do something for me, I frame it in the same language that you would frame it. Hey, I'm trying to do X. This is what I want to accomplish. I think you can help me. Here's why I think you can help me. Could you help me on this day at this time? If not, is this something that you're open to? Could we schedule a different way? That's probably exactly how you approached me the first time that we started working together. It's long enough now I don't fucking remember how it happened.
Yeah, so So a little freak out over the internet. It happens to the best of us.
Sure, exactly.
At least yours are kind of for more legit reasons.
I try to only complain when people are being really egregious. And when I pop it up on Facebook, it's mostly because I want the people that might do that to me in the future to see it, to go, hey man, I hope he doesn't share the last text that I sent him because it's very similar to this one. But it's mainly the real estate agents. You're my friend. Gino's my friend. Jake Schaff down in Kalamazoo Glassworks, he's my friend.
But
I'll work. No, I will drop anything to work with you guys. But and here's the but is if we're gonna plan on it and it's not mission critical. If it's a point where, like, I'm working an 18-hour day and, I only have 1 hour to give to Gino, or I only have 2 or 3 hours to give to you, it's much easier for me to go, I'll do this over the weekend. It doesn't need to be done tomorrow. I don't need to email this guy at 5 a.m. with a draft. Like, it can be put off for 2 days. And so I will do that because it's like, well, it's literally the difference between me getting 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep tonight. And I really think that if I asked Garret at 5 o'clock in the morning if it's okay if I just put this off until Sunday so that I could actually go to sleep tonight, that you would be cool with that, And it's the same with Gino. Like, I had to kind of apologize to him the other day, and this is all behind the scenes baseball shit, but like, he needed something done. He's got a bit of a soft deadline. And he was just checking in like, hey, did you get a chance to look at this yet? And I'm like, basically, no, I didn't. But that little board that's on my door as you walk out is kind of where I make notes about what's coming up and what I need to be thinking about. And he was at the top of that list. So I just sent him a picture of my board, and I was like, no, buddy, but you were at the top of my actual literal list.
I mean, you got quite a list here. Let's see. Schuelke portfolio migration, Schuelke meetup at 12 noon, slash Garret's throat and high body. I'm a little bit iffy on that one. I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
But no, I mean, and that's the thing is like I made a commitment a long time ago to operating my business in a way where I'm approachable and people who need things done can call me and say, I need to get this done. What you got for me? That's what I want. But the thing is with these realtors is that everything is too late for them. I've got people that want to call me at 8 a.m., have me somewhere at 10 a.m., and then have those photos turned around them before 5 p.m. so that they can go fly to Quintana Roo and get their fucking nails done in Mexico. Like, nice. And that literally happens all the time. They're like, oh, I need to rush this because I'm flying out to somewhere tomorrow. And like, I can't tell the client that because they don't need to know that I'm on vacation, but like, I really need you to get this done before 7 p.m. But then I look at my schedule and it's like, bitch, I'm not even going to be in my office until 9 p.m. Like, I'm on the road from fucking 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. that day. So like, what you're asking me to do is not only physically impossible, it's also really fucking rude and demonstrates a complete lack of understanding of what is involved into making what you ask me to do done. Like, do I have the skills to do what you ask me to do? Fuck yeah, dude. But do I have the time to just immediately stop everything that I'm doing to go do something for you? Probably not, And I mean, unless they're willing to give me a couple of extra $100 bills in order to compensate for the fact that I have to not attend to somebody else's shit, because my time is 100% booked always. I have projects that are ongoing that it's like, well, when you have free time, work on this. and I have probably 12 of those. So even when I have free time, there's stuff hanging over my head, and it makes it very difficult to plan or take course corrective actions when most of the world just, they think of something and they call and it happens. You know, oh, I want a leopard print
pillbox hats.
Yeah, pillbox hash. You type it up on Amazon. That shit's at your door 2 days later. That's the world everybody lives in. So they expect me to kind of be like that. They want to go onto my website and click a button and have me show up at their house the next day. And like, while I understand that to some people that may seem like a rational ask, it's also really dehumanizing to just be expected to just answer my emails constantly. Like, dude, when I was in the Netherlands in 2019, I had 32 phone calls that I had to make the day that I got back because people just, I would say, hey, I'm in Amsterdam right now. Like, I can't schedule with you right now. And they'd be like, okay, well, call me when you get back. And 32 times that happened. So 32 times I had to stop my vacation in Europe and text people back in the United States that I'm in Europe and can't talk to them right now.
Wait, don't texts and emails have like a thing where you can put an alert so that it'll like immediately...
Yeah, it could have, but the problem with that is if I go incommunicative for a week, then I could potentially lose those clients. So it's in my best interest to say, sense. Hey, well, I'm not going to be able to help you out, but here's why. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Text me the details. I'll write up a ticket on the plane ride home. And that's what I did. And that's kind of what the ask is. If you want to be the boss of your business, you don't get to take time off. You just don't, because it exists with you. It's in your brain. It's your abilities. So like, I don't just turn on a switch in my own brain on Monday morning that says now is when you can take photos. It's like I always have that ability. I can always turn on my computer and edit photos, but I have to limit the times because I can't do that every hour of every day, of every week, of every month. I have to spend X amount of time doing it so that I can have time for Y and W and S item. I can't, like, the time management of being a business owner that's self-employed is like very different from how most people structure their lives. And so I have to be really understanding when people call me and they expect certain things, because for me, I don't get the luxury of expecting anything. Every single job is different. Every house is different. Every interaction is different. Every set of circumstances that I arrive on site with is different. So it's like my job isn't it's like 10% the ability to take good photos and 90% customer service skills. Because I got to be able to show up and when they're not ready, not blow up in their face. Be like, well, thank you. You just single-handedly turned my 9-hour day into a 14-hour day. I hope you die a fucking miserable death. Like, I can't say that to someone in their own home, Yeah. So it's more like I got to be like, okay, well, we'll work it out. And then I just eat the cost.
I don't know. You could do that potentially. I mean, I met a recent non-profit entrepreneur in Grand Rapids who... after some of his shitty behavior, I called him a creep, and he promptly sent me a message request sending me a death threat. Ugh. So you can do it. If he can do it, you can do it too, Zach. Elmblad.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if like the unbreakable aspects of my personality help or hurt me.
Yeah.
Stop being a bitch. Come to my inbox, and if you saw me in person, you scared as fuck. Get the fuck out of here, bitch. That's a great message.
Yeah, I'm committing libel here, but folks, do not support Reset GR, Wake Up GR. The guy who runs is a fucking grifter who's got some weird beliefs about Asian people marrying racist white people to keep black people down, I guess.
Yikes.
Yeah, don't do it.
Complex world we live in these days.
Okay, so to finish up here,
Sure.
winter
camping.
Winter
it's
camping,
fun. Do
yay,
it.
yay or nay?
Yay. It's a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
But it's survivable, right?
It's survivable. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I still obsess every day about going through my going full Ted Kaczynski and running into the woods.
Trust me, dude. That might be where my fucking
And I'm glad to know that
not Ted Kaczynski, but
I'm glad to know I'll be able to survive and that I won't die while I'm in the middle of making a special package for the governor of Texas.
yikes. Yikes.
I will say Texas.
God. No, I think that we're gonna see a lot of behavior just like that. Secessionist behavior, like not from the federal government, but secessionist from society.
Yeah.
Like the idea of just like getting 10 acres of land and just like being your own, responsible for your own shit. That like sort of libertarian bend agriculturalist, like loner, white tower philosopher person.
Yeah.
Sort of archetype.
Yeah.
I feel myself slipping into that really bad.
Oh yeah, a lot of times too. But to quote the mayor of Houston, I believe it was, who got very angry that people were angry at him for not, doing stuff to help them during the snowstorm.
Which is his literal job.
Yeah, they pay him to do that.
Yeah.
The weak die and the strong survive.
Sure.
And just like you folks, only the strongest listen to this 2-hour, 40-minute podcast. And I think we're done here.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to leave her at that.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You got your 2 hours and 40 minutes of Zach Elmblad. Only the strong will literally survive.
Pow.
All right, Zach, let's do some promos. Anything with you?
I don't really have anything new. We just briefly talked about how my website hasn't been updated in like 5 years. So I guess maybe in the next 5 years I will update it. So check that. Haven't updated anything on Instagram in probably months. I very rarely post to Facebook. But you can come find me at the Park Trade Center in downtown Kalamazoo. Knock on my door, though, because it's fucking locked.
But not to me, though. Never for me.
No, I did hear that there's been some rumblings about Art Hop being a thing again.
Really?
To circle this all the way back to like post-COVID, putting life back together.
Yeah.
They don't have a date for Art Hop, but apparently it is now in conversation when public's going to be allowed in this building again.
What about the Doodah Parade? Can bring that back.
Parade, good lord.
Which is folks, Doodah Parade is this weird parade where the hipsters around here dress up in costumes and shit and parade through the streets.
Yeah, and it was sponsored by a radio station.
Very nice. Not Wider, some other station.
WKFR.
Yeah, Wider can't afford it.
No, but yeah, so that's my plugs. My plugs are be a good human, go out into the world and do good things. And then when you do them, think, Zach told me to do this.
I would like to promote Kill People, Burn Shit, Fuck School. Not me, that's Tyler the Creator back in the day. For real, folks, you can find everything on my main website, garretschuelke.tumblr.com. And, you're listening to this podcast on some station, and if you want to listen to another one or to download, I've been pretty busy this past month, and now my podcast is available on a grand total of 14 websites.
Holy
apps.
shit.
Zach, you called me a madman when I said I could put everything on for free, but you said I had to pay for it. Well, I showed you, didn't I?
You did.
And you know what? I flubbed at the last 2 episodes with Ben Tanzer and Dan Denton, but I have them all listed right here.
Perfect.
Here it is, all 14 where you can find this podcast. Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Internet Archive, YouTube, Mixcloud, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Audio Mac, Listen Notes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. There you go.
What a list.
Yep, you can listen to it all on there, and specifically if you want to download podcasts, because like me, you don't have the data plan to stream everything all the time. Internet Archive and Listen Notes, you can download them on there.
Legit.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Zach, thanks for being on. Sincere thanks for doing all the work you do for me.
Of course.
To like get 1 fan and like 2 sales a year.
We see you, fan. Thanks for listening, buddy.
Yeah, actually a shout out to like, apparently my biggest fan according to like Anchor statistics is I think based in Ashburn, Virginia. So,
Shout out, Virginia.
Yeah, so shout out to you. I love you, whoever you are. And, yeah, and that's the podcast, folks. Thanks for listening. Zach, thanks for being on. At last, here is the outro song.
The words we sing are sacred for the things we give away. So special on the pages, but when on my lips, nobody will take it. They sell and sell the world to be the place we were meant to seem to stay. Far away. There's an echo in the woods. It gets lost where you think it should. There's a different kind of cold outside. There's an echo in the woods. So I'm coughing codeine syrup up with a cold rush down my spine. It's a dizzying spell and I can't tell if I'm over or underwhelmed.